Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union has helped people save money for almost 80 years. Whether it's free checking, financing a vehicle, or purchasing that new home, Alcoa 10 is here to help you. Better rates, better service. Check them out at atfcu.com.
Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong.
Member NCUA.
When I made the move to my own studio, I was worried about this. I was worried about that. I was worried about, hey, did I get this piece of equipment? Did I get that piece of equipment? Does that sound good? Does that not sound good? One thing I didn't have to worry about, that was office furniture, because Office Furniture Outfitters met my furniture needs. With a 50,000 square foot facility, they have East Tennessee's largest selection and are the best value for new and used office furniture. Located in Knoxville, it's easy to find everything you need for your new space, including desks, file cabinets, chairs, conference tables, and more. Office Furniture Outfitters is turnkey. They came to my place, we mapped everything out that was needed, they delivered, and get this, set everything up. To learn more about what Office Furniture Outfitters can do for you, log on to ofonox.com. That's ofonox.com.
Deep down the middle's got his man, and he's gone. Jason Swain, touchdown.
It's time for the Swain Event.
Guess what time it is? My time. You can check your iPhone. Better say it's our time.
With your host, Jason Swain.
My man.
Real sports talk for the real sports fan.
All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him.
It's time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End BBQ.
Give me 2 pounds and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event and SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End BBQ, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. 865-200-5503 is our telephone number to the B-Dry Waterproofing Hotline. 850 AM, 100.9 FM. Rocky Top Sports. Ben McKee, Jason Swain, taking you from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on a beautiful Monday in East Tennessee. It is President's Day, so the good people what's the holiday today?
I didn't make that. I think you're second guessing yourself because of the look on my face that I made. I'm not second guessing.
What's the holiday?
I don't know.
I think it is President's Day.
Well, that's why I made that face, because I did not realize it was President's Day.
You hit me with a Teddy Bruschi.
No, it was a Teddy Bruschi to myself because I was not aware.
Yeah, today is President's Day.
That today was President's Day.
Yeah, you made me second guess myself with your facial expression. I swear it was President's Day. It is President's Day.
So are the kids out of school for President's Day or because everybody in Knoxville is sick?
Both.
Both? Because if it wasn't President's Day, then they'd probably still be out of school?
Correct. And so the trick of doing a morning show when you have a studio in your house is to let the kiddos stay up as long as they want to. So I went to bed at about 1:30. I know, right? I don't ever go to bed at 1:30 unless Tennessee hires T. Martin.
There's a day last week that you didn't go to bed until 1:30.
Yeah, and so went to bed at 1:30, got up at 5 something, whatever. But my 3, 4, and 10-year-old did not go to sleep. And don't judge me here, please. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
I'm not judging.
They didn't go to bed to 12:30.
Yeah, go. Well, see, I'll be interested to see if that move pays off for you and the wifey, because I believe, I don't know, the wifey was telling me about sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, the plan is to let them sleep as long as possible this morning, so they don't disrupt the show. So they went to bed at like 12:30 last night or this morning, and hopefully they'll be up around third hour or something like that. We'll see.
We should just bring them on the show and have them on the show all week.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
865-255-03, B-Dry Waterproofing Hotline. So, what are we going to talk about today?
The Daytona 500.
Yeah, let's talk about the Daytona 500. People driving in circles.
Hey,
Let's just talk about that.
I felt like an American watching yesterday. I'm just kidding.
Wes Brown put me on NASCAR. I'm not gonna sit here and say I follow it, but when I was doing combines and stuff across the country, Wes Brown was a part of the team, and he schooled me on NASCAR and all that good stuff. And so it is intense, and it's better to be there than watching on TV, is what I was told. So still have not done that yet. Still have an invite from the Bristol Speedway folks up there, and I just haven't been able to make it happen. But yeah, let's break down the Daytona 500, because
I mean, the basketball game Saturday night did somewhat resemble all of the wrecks at the end of the race yesterday.
Man, Tennessee football announced their staff. We will talk about that. Tennessee football also got a commitment from a really highly rated defensive tackle. We will talk about that. But first, this butt kicking, and that's exactly what it was. It was a butt kicking. Tennessee, Kentucky, the most anticipated game in the SEC this year, and Kentucky was playing very well over the last 2.5, 3 weeks. And this was the test. A young basketball team. You look at the makeup of their team, they have a lot of freshmen and sophomores, and they are led by P.J. Washington. Last year in this game, he cramped up. He could not finish, and Tennessee was able to take care of business at home. P.J. Washington had the same cramps, it seems like, there in the second half, but it was already too late. Tennessee was up big, and the game was pretty much over.
What do you think that is? That he cramped up?
I don't know, man.
I mean, do you think he got too amped up for the basketball game, and as a result, maybe?
No.
I don't even know. Just weird. Just because he was so amped up, he drained his own energy.
Oh man, last year he cramped up too, couldn't even finish. And I don't know, man. I'm not a doctor.
It's the only time it happens is against Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Let's make sure that his hotel room is extra hot, and he sweats a lot and loses a lot of fluids here in Knoxville, because he was a problem. He was unstoppable. He could have went for 40 if they needed him to. He was a problem, but a 17-point beat down by Kentucky on Tennessee, and Tennessee falling will topple out of the top 3 more than likely. Probably will be like number 5, something like that.
Yeah.
I think this is what this team needed. I think this team needed some adversity. I was not expecting that type of adversity and that type of embarrassment, and that's kind of what it was. Now, before we get started, I love this team. I still love this team. These are my guys. I'm proud of how they carry themselves off the court, how they play on the court. Saturday was not them. That was not the team that we have seen all year long. That is something that Rick Barnes said himself. He did not recognize this team. This team played selfish. I like Admiral Schofield's and Grant Williams' comments after the game showing accountability. They know what happened, and they know what they have to do. They did not play like they played all season long. Ben, just your overall thoughts before we really dive into this game.
I was absolutely stunned. Rick Barnes talked before the game that he thought his team would be ready for the moment. He didn't think that they would be too hyped up, and I don't necessarily think that they're too hyped up in terms of being emotional at the beginning of the game, but they weren't ready. I mean, even when Tennessee was knocking down some shots and going back and forth with Kentucky and keeping it a 4 to 6 point ball game, they still didn't look right in terms of just moving within the offense. They all looked confused. They were all second guessing their movements. The passes weren't crisp. On defense, it lacked communication. They weren't hustling back in transition defense. Jordan Bone wasn't able to push the ball in transition offense because Grant, Admiral, Lamonte were kind of taking their time getting back down the court. And Kentucky just punched Tennessee in the mouth, and Tennessee did not respond well. So I don't. It's not the beautiful thing is that there's still a lot of basketball left to be played, and I do think that the basketball team will grow from this. But Saturday night was not encouraging. I was surprised that Tennessee just was not ready for the moment, and I'm absolutely stunned with the veteran leadership. And this isn't the first time they've played in Rupp Arena, played against Kentucky. I was just absolutely shocked. And like you said, we'll dive in more about basketball details, but in terms of the overall picture, I couldn't have been more surprised of the outcome. I believe when you and I had lunch on Thursday or Friday, I told you the only thing I would be surprised is if Tennessee got blown out. It would not have surprised me if Tennessee won by 10 or so points. It would not have surprised me had Kentucky won a close game. The only thing that I was going to be surprised about was if Kentucky blew out Tennessee, and I was surprised as all get out. Kentucky's the real deal. They are, if they play like they did on Saturday, they are more than capable of winning the national championship.
Yeah, and Tennessee plays like they're capable of playing. You know, they can win it as well. Sometimes you fall into a L-shaped ambush pit, and that's what happened with Tennessee playing at Rupp. Rupp was rocking. They got a lot. Yeah, I thought Kentucky got a lot of calls in their favor because of some home cooking, but that was not the reason why Tennessee lost the game. I tell you who impressed me from Tennessee's side, and that is Jordan Bone, because Jordan Bone played every single minute like it was his last. Did he make some mistakes? Yes, but he ain't back down. He wasn't timid. I saw fear in the eyes of about 2 or 3 players. Did not see that in Jordan Bone. He was carrying the fight to Kentucky, and then he didn't have a lot of help. He was efficient from the floor, 8 for 13. He had 19 points, and he probably could have had about 30 if he was more assertive and more aggressive. So we'll take our first break of the day here momentarily, and we'll really come back and talk about this Kentucky-Tennessee game. This could be really good for Tennessee. Tennessee needed to be humbled. Tennessee needed some adversity. Everything is out in front. It's better to learn this lesson now in February than to learn this lesson in March in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round of the tournament. So this is not the end of the season. This is great for Tennessee to go back to the drawing board. They better find out who can guard P.J. Washington in the next matchup.
I don't know that they have anybody as of today.
I mean,
Grant has to step up and be that guy.
At least stop him from going over his left shoulder. I mean, that's his go-to move.
It was the same move he used all night.
Man, that hook was unstoppable. At least force him to go to his right shoulder or something else. We did not make that adjustment. We'll take our first break of the day. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End BBQ. Stay with us. Be right back.
You don't have to take an L just because you can't listen to the Swain Event live. You can catch up on the podcast posted daily on the app, online, and on iTunes.
Top 100 barbecue restaurant Dead End BBQ has a new slew of daily specials for the fall. Enjoy a different special meal every day, like the smokehouse stew, barbecue cheddar meatloaf, or the smoked turkey and dressing, which includes sliced smoked turkey and cornbread dressing paired with sautéed Brussels sprouts, mashed potatoes, and a side of turkey gravy. While Dead End offers a different specialty meal each day, you can get their hillbilly chili every day. There is always something new at Dead End BBQ. Located off of Sutherland Avenue, Dead End BBQ. The fall flavor search is over.
Do you want a custom themed tumbler or bottle to show off your team spirit every day of the week? Well, look no further than Game Time Sidekicks. Every design has you, the fan, in mind. Their tumblers and bottles are double-walled, vacuum-insulated stainless steel, and their quality is second to none in the market. From stainless steel sippy cups to tumblers and sports bottles, Game Time Sidekicks offers something for the fan of all ages to rep their team with. They have many different logo options, so fans will have something they are proud to carry around all the time. Use promo code SWAIN at checkout to get 20% off of your entire purchase at GameTimeSidekicks.com. They also offer $5 flat rate shipping. Be sure to check out the Game Time Workshop on the website and customize your tumbler to make it one of a kind with things like your nickname, number, or initials. Game Time Sidekicks. Show your colors and carry your team.
While the other guys are taking guesses, the Swain Event is taking you behind the scenes and in the huddle every morning from 7 till 10 right here.
Are you looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? If so, then call me, Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty. I take a no-nonsense approach to the real estate transaction. No fluff, just facts. Having lived and worked in the Knoxville area for 19 years, I am very familiar with the local real estate landscape and am ready to help you get the most money for your property with the least amount of hassle in the shortest amount of time. No one likes for their home to sit on the market for months at a time. If a straightforward approach to your real estate needs is what you prefer, then give me a call. Jennifer Morris with Keller Williams Realty at 865-694-5904 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com.
You're driving home, flashing blue lights in your rearview mirror. You pull over, step out of your car, and the next thing you know, you're being arrested for driving under the influence. Now what do? We all should be responsible. But remember, just because you're arrested doesn't mean you're guilty. Call criminal defense and DUI attorney Marcos Garza at 865-540-8300. The investigative teams at the Garza Law Firm know the justice system inside and out. They utilize cutting-edge technologies and investigative methods to prepare your specific case. Before you plead guilty to any criminal charges, call criminal defense and DUI attorney Marcos Garza. Put his number in your phone right now, 865-540-8300, because you never know when you or a friend will need it. Don't say guilty. Say Garza. 865-540-8300. 865-540-8300 and GarzaLaw.com.
You're listening to the Swain Event.
And you know this, man?
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End BBQ, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Some good stuff over there at Dead End, DeadEndBBQ.com. They cater more things than you realize. You look at the menu, and they do probably double that with their catering menu. So don't look at their menu and think they can't do what you think or you want to be done. Give them a shout, give them a call. Discuss what you're looking for, and I promise you Dead End can deliver on those wishes for you. Today is the Smokehouse Stew. Now, every day they have the Hillbilly Chili right now, but today is the Smokehouse Stew. It is their version of the Brunswick Stew with burnt ends, pulled pork, chopped chicken, smoked sausage, and stew vegetables, served with your choice of bread. Let's go to the Be Dry Waterproofing Hotline this morning. Let's get to Jay first, and then we will really talk about this Kentucky game and kind of what happened in the game. And boy, golly, man, no trash talking for Tennessee fans for a while. That's that game.
That football game. See, that what had happened was.
What about football though? All right, let's get to Jay. Jay, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Jay.
How are you?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm fine. That was the worst game I've seen us play all year.
Yeah, it wasn't even really close.
I was surprised.
Yep. I think we all were. Rick Barnes was. Everybody was surprised. That was not a team that we recognized.
No, I mean, they didn't do anything like they normally do.
They definitely did not look like themselves. That is a fact, Jack.
Well, here's the thing that was surprising, and thanks for the phone call, Jay, was you have the reigning SEC Player of the Year in Grant Williams. And you failed to really go to him early. You got a quick foul on P.J. Washington.
And you didn't
possession.
You didn't attack him the rest of the half.
The first possession, you get a great defensive play by Grant Williams, and you force a foul on P.J. Washington, why not go right back to Grant Williams or whoever's P.J. Washington guarding and get him 2 fouls right then? Why not? But instead, we jacked up all types of outside shots. I mean, we were shooting way too much from the outside. Normally, in 11 games in the SEC, Tennessee will shoot about 18 three-pointers per game. About 18 three-pointers. On Saturday, they shot 25. You got Grant Williams. 25 three-pointers? It wasn't like Kentucky was playing zone and forcing you to shoot. Now, we had a lot of open looks, and you want to take those open looks, but 25 three-pointers? Grant Williams is the reigning SEC Player of the Year. 25 threes, 7 more than your average, and you wasn't making them.
Well, and not only the threes, but long-range jumpers, too. How many – I'd love to go back and count how many long jumpers Tennessee took in addition to those three-pointers, because the ones that stand out the most to me off the top of my head is Admiral was doing it. Admiral was not attacking the rim until late in the first half, and imagine what happens when he did drive to the basketball. He was successful. They could not stop him. I understand that Admiral is trying to show to the NBA that he is capable of hitting that shot from the perimeter. But if Tennessee wants to reach its potential, it has to be Admiral attacking the basket, has to be Admiral hitting those mid-range jumpers around the free throw line, not these long shots just within the three-point line. And then Jordan Bone, even though he was a little bit more successful, he was taking some pretty long jumpers as well, as was Admiral. I didn't think Jordan was doing as good of a job at attacking the rim as he was capable of, or maybe as Tennessee would have liked to do.
Yeah, he could have been more aggressive. Now, this word aggressive, we have a lot of folks who watch this basketball team play who are really not basketball fans, okay? They have caught wind of Tennessee playing well. They have been impressed by how great this team has played, number one in the team, and number one in the country, and they have started to pay close attention to Tennessee basketball now. This is a football school. Football drives the gravy train. We all understand that. Football has the most attention. We all understand that. So when you use the word aggressive, Tennessee was not aggressive enough. You have some folks who get confused, who think we're talking football, who think we're talking about being physical. Because being aggressive in football could mean running the football and hitting someone hard. No, that's not what being aggressive always means in basketball. Being aggressive is a mindset, is a mentality. You just mentioned it. Grant Williams being on the inside, us not getting the ball to him. Admiral Schofield taking jump shots instead of being aggressive and tackling the rim and forcing the referee to make some calls. We bailed the referees out in the first half because we were not aggressive going towards the basket. The referees, were they good? No, they stunk. They always stink. What game, football, basketball, can we sit back and go, man, did y'all see that game? Did the refs call? Man, they did a great job calling that game. We have pretty much made up in our mind that refs stink. But what do you have to do? You have to play through that. You have to adjust. You have a veteran group. You played a lot of basketball games. You have to adjust. In the first 3 or 4 minutes, you find out, okay, they're letting us play. Or, okay, they're not. They're calling everything. One thing that was disappointing about the referees is that they changed up how they were calling the game during the game.
Made zero sense. You were allowing Tennessee and Kentucky to slug it out.
Yeah.
It looked more physical than some Tennessee football games this past season.
Correct.
In the first 15 minutes. And then those last 3 to 5 minutes of the first half, you suddenly change the way you're calling the basketball game, and you're calling every little thing a foul.
Yes.
When as in the first 15 minutes, you were letting everything go.
Correct.
How is it in such a physical basketball game, Tennessee did not shoot its first free throw until the second half? Somebody explain that to me.
Oh, I can explain to you. Tennessee didn't help.
By
not being aggressive and going to the basket. Now, the referees were not great, but again, you got to play through that. You have to adjust. You didn't do what you normally do, and that is play inside out. That is attack the basket. That is make open shots. We did not play like ourselves. And so when I say don't blame it on the refs, because after the game, everyone wanted to blame the refs. Oh, the refs cost us the game. No. Were the refs good? No, they were not. They were bad. But it was not the refs' fault that we shot 1 from 17 from 3 between Admiral Schofield, Jordan Ballard, and Lamonte Turner. 1 for 17.
The referees are not the reason Lamonte was 0 of 5.
That is 6%. 6%. Your best three-point shooters, they shoot 6%. 1 for 17. That ain't the ref's fault. It ain't the ref's fault that we only had 1 block. 1. We average about 6 per game. We had 1 block. 1. That's not on the refs. 50-50 balls that Kentucky got their hands on more times than not. That's not on the refs. That's not on the refs. So, yes, the refs did not have their best showing, but you don't blame the referees for that game. You have to play better. You have to play tougher. And Kentucky brought the fight to us. Let's get to the phones, and let's get to Vol Nation. Vol Nation, good morning.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Great, man. How are you?
Oh, man, recuperating a little bit, but I agree totally with everything y'all saying, man.
You got the flu, or are you sick from the game? A little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I didn't get a chance to see the whole game because Saturday nights was a busy time for us preparing for the next day or whatever, but I saw enough at the beginning of the game and toward the end of the first half and a little bit in the second half to kind of see the dynamic of what was going on, and I think you hit the nail on the head. When you talk about intensity and passion and aggressiveness in basketball, like I said, it is a mentality. It's an attitude. My uncle played semi-pro, and like I said, when we played basketball, we didn't know how to play physical in the paint. We was on the bench, and I was a guard, and so we had to learn how to play inside out. And from the beginning, they looked a little disoriented. They looked like it was, I don't know if the lens was bothering them or I don't know what was going on, but they didn't look focused. They didn't look like they could get into their sets and run their offense the way we're used to seeing them run. They just looked, like I said, just all over, just disoriented. And it was frustrating to see that because, of course, there was the senior leadership. But something I've been concerned about for quite some time now, which I didn't think would show up until a game like this, which was defensive rebounding. I watched a little bit or enough to see Kentucky over and over again get second and third chance opportunities. You can't do that with good programs. Some of our efficiency on the offensive end and some of the other games camouflage some of these deficiencies, but in this game, a lot of our deficiencies and our lackadaisical attitude, a lack of aggression, not crashing. You got to block. Fulkerson makes a block, but then no one else is there to follow him up and help get the rebound. Or Schofield's down there working hard, and I'm thinking, where's the rest of the team? You know what I'm saying? No one's crashing the boards. Lamonte Turner was 0 of 7 from the three-point line. He had 4 points. Kyle Alexander had 4 points. And Jordan Bone had 3 points. Fulkerson had 3. Pons had 3. The bench play was lacking. We're used to 6 people being in double figures. We only really had 3, and that was, of course, Admiral Williams and Schofield. And so with the discrepancy in the rebound area, 24 offensive rebounds compared to 38, the game was lost right there. When you have games of this magnitude, whether we play Duke, whether we play Kentucky, these top teams, you win in the paint. You got to be physical in the paint. We were not. Like you mentioned, we had 1 block shot. They had 6. We had 9 turnovers. Yeah. We 28% from the 3-point line is not good. 7 to 25. So
they had 16 more points than us in the paint. 16 more points. They had 16 more points than us in the paint. They had 17 second chance points. We only had 14. And so you can look around the stat sheet, and pretty much in every place we're beat. Every place we're beat. It ain't the referees there. It ain't the referees points in the paint. It's not the referees that Lamonte Turner shot 18% from the field, 0 for 7. It ain't the referees that Jordan Bowen shot 14% from the field, and he was 0 for 4 from 3. You mentioned it, Vol Nation. This team is used to having 5 or 6 guys in double figures, and yeah, you had 3, but Admiral Schofield shot 18 shots to get 17 points, and so this team we did not recognize. Here's a great thing about basketball, though. You still can go win a championship.
There you go.
You can go turn on the film, and here's a great thing about playing sports at this level. You can play really, really bad in middle school and high school, and maybe you have a crew at your school that videotapes everything. Maybe you don't. But at this level, the eye in the sky don't lie. And you can go see yourself. You can go see yourself play in mud and not play fast enough and not being instinctive. You can go see that. Like, I can identify with that. Where you play in another atmosphere and you're thinking. That 1 second while you're thinking, your feet are not moving and it looks like you're playing in mud. It looks like you're timid. And that's what I saw on Saturday. And Rick Barnes will be able to show this team on video. I'm sure they already watched the video. They already saw themselves jack up shots when they didn't have to. They already saw where Jordan Bone was trying to push the ball up the court and telling his teammate, guys, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. When you see yourself doing that, you can make those adjustments. You can make those adjustments. And so I anticipate that to happen with this Tennessee team. They will recover. They will respawn. I'm not really worried about that. I think they're going to absolutely crush Vanderbilt, and they'll play a lot better against LSU, a better test for them. I'm not worried about this team because they have character. They have character. And when you have character, when you hit adversity, you respond. You respond when you have character. You don't fold. You don't make excuses. You don't blame others when you have character. You take accountability, you take responsibility, and you just go get better and you get it done. And I expect this team to do that.
They weren't making excuses after the game.
No.
That they were calling themselves soft, phonies, unprepared, doing uncharacteristic things on the basketball court. And those comments from Admiral and Grant after the game is why I'm still confident in this team moving forward. Confident that they can figure this out.
I love
anybody who thinks that this was a result of Tennessee not playing anybody to start the SEC schedule, it's a ridiculous take. And even furthermore, to think that Tennessee got lucky against #1 Gonzaga in December, that's ridiculous.
I played well.
Tennessee played very well, and at the time played like the best team in the country.
Play like crap on Saturday, and Kentucky played their best game, and that's why you got beat by 17. 865-200-5503. Hour 1 is brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Follow them on Twitter at Happy Hiller. Be right back. Swain Event.
For a replay of each day's Swain Event TV, like us on Facebook.
We have all made the mistake of dropping or breaking our smartphones. See? But did you know that you can have it repaired for a fraction of the cost that it takes to replace it? Well, you can, because iDrop is the area's leading mobile repair store, home of the 1 hour or less phone repair, 1 year parts warranty, and #1 customer service. Broken screens, cracked cameras, charging ports, batteries, you break it, we'll fix it. If you didn't break your phone, protect it with one of our leading accessories such as LifeProof, OtterBox, UAG, Incipico, Caseology, and Spec. Visit our West Hills location at 7115 Kingston Pike between Office Depot and Hardee's. or call 865-888-9740 and speak with our trained technicians to see how we can get your phone working today.
When you see the happy face on our truck, you'll be smiling because you'll know that you're in love.
It's freezing in here, Mary. What's wrong with your heater?
The repairman can't get here till next week.
Sugar, you've got the wrong guy. My guy is fast and has free heating service calls when he does the repair.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Hiller. Take advantage of a free service call with any repair.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
While the other guys are taking guesses, the Swain Event is taking you behind the scenes and in the huddle every morning from 7 till 10 right here.
JC's Tree and Landscaping Service specializes in quality tree work done at an affordable price. Trimming and removing trees are their specialty. They also offer other services like land clearing, stump grinding, crane services, and all of your basic landscaping needs for both commercial and residential. JC's will give you a free estimate and beat any written quote by a competitor to guarantee that you get the lowest price around. Don't risk your land with a fly-by-night service. JC's Tree and Landscaping is licensed and insured. Give them a call at 865-599-3799.
Craving flavors that don't take hours in the kitchen? Mrs. Grissom's cheese spreads and chicken salads are the perfect go-to. Ready-to-eat meals and snacks found in the meat or dairy section at your local grocery store. Whether you crave the classic Mrs. Grissom's pimento cheese or the gluten-free select varieties like the cranberry pecan chicken salad, enjoy small-town flavor in every bite. Select the best. Select Mrs. Grissom's.
You're driving home, flashing blue lights in your rearview mirror. You pull over, step out of your car, and the next thing you know, you're being arrested for driving under the influence. Now what do? We all should be responsible. But remember, just because you're arrested doesn't mean you're guilty. Call criminal defense and DUI attorney Marcos Garza at 865-540-8300. The investigative teams at the Garza Law Firm know the justice system inside and out. They utilize cutting-edge technologies and investigative methods to prepare your specific case. Before you plead guilty to any criminal charges, call criminal defense and DUI attorney Marcos Garza. Put his number in your phone right now, 865-540-8300, because you never know when you or a friend will need it. Don't say guilty. Say Garza. 865-540-8300. 865-540-8300 and GarzaLaw.com.
You're listening to the Swain Event.
And you know this, man.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, 850 AM, 100.9 FM, Rocky Top Sports, Swain Event TV, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube. If you are watching the show, good morning. How you doing? Hope you're doing well this morning. It is President's Day, so a lot of people are out of work. So enjoy your day off, and we are blessed and appreciative that you're joining us this morning on your day off, getting up early to either watch the show or listen to the show.
I would ask you who your favorite president is, but I'm sure that would offend somebody in some form or fashion, unfortunately. So we're just going to avoid that question.
Well, we don't mix politics and sports, man. Not on this program. No, not doing that. Let's go to the phones and let's get to Daniel. Daniel, good morning.
Morning, guys. How are y'all?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. I just want to tell y'all I appreciate y'all's show, man. I love listening to y'all every morning on my way to work.
Thank you.
Awesome show. I'm kind of like everybody else in All Nation, man. Been kind of sick today. It was a rough weekend for us.
Yeah.
And y'all touched on a lot of things this morning with the basketball team. I was at the South Carolina game, and even though South Carolina, they were making the shot, and Tennessee always answered. Tennessee played like the team that has played all year, and then Saturday it's just like, who is this team? They weren't passing the ball good. You know, they were definitely not hitting the shot. And I mean, just Kentucky owned them from the start. And that's not the identity of this team. And, you know, I think Grant Williams and Schofield and Jordan Bone, you know, they called them out on that at the post-game press conference.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, what do you think the identity of this team is going to be going forward now?
Oh, I guarantee you they're going to have some physical practices, and they'll be told to, you know, when they run motion offense, that they better not shoot into the ball, gets into the post, unless it's a fan out. Don't shoot the three unless Grant Williams touches the basketball or the ball enters the post. That's going to be, I'm sure, emphasized in practice. This is a team that can shoot the three. But what happens when you can shoot the three, sometimes you rely on it too much because three is more points than two. And so you like, okay, well, I can cover up this deficiency by just making this three. It'll make it all go away. I can make 2 threes, and that's the same as making 3 2-point baskets. And when the three's not falling, you get yourself in trouble. And that's what happened on Saturday. So I fully anticipate the seniors to step up first without Rick Barnes having to say anything. And then I expect Rick Barnes to make corrections because he's a Hall of Fame coach.
In terms of going forward, I would be surprised if this basketball team does not respond well to Saturday. It's not their makeup. It's not Rick Barnes and his coaching staff's makeup to just fold. I'd be more stunned if they fold to end the season than Kentucky blowing them out on Saturday night. Like, I truly would. It's just not in their makeup. And, you know, I think the Vanderbilt game comes at a very good time because of who looms on Saturday. Because, you know, we can play the coaching aspect and think that the coach talk and say that every game is a must-win game. But in terms of winning the SEC regular season championship, Saturday is a must-win. It's not a must-win in the sense of what you do in the NCAA tournament, in the SEC tournament, but in terms of winning the regular season title, Saturday is a must-win against LSU just simply because Tennessee still has tough games after the LSU game with Kentucky coming to town. You play both Mississippi schools that are capable of beating you. You play an Auburn team that is capable of beating you if they can quit being dysfunctional. And obviously you play Kentucky again. So on the flip side of that, LSU plays nobody the rest of the season. So in terms of just winning the SEC regular season title, Saturday is a must-win. And so I'm glad that Vanderbilt is on Tuesday night because they can try to iron out some kinks and hopefully get back on track.
You know, it was fun being the number 1 team in the country for 4 weeks. The first 2 weeks, I was really, really jacked up about it, really proud. And then the last 2 weeks, I really started to realize that it just didn't really matter much because we was not playing basketball we needed to play, entering the meat of the SEC schedule, entering some matchups that was going to be a lot tougher than playing against Georgia and playing against Vanderbilt. It became more about how we're playing. And we got like little warnings leading up to Saturday. Like, we got little warnings. You know, Tennessee would have 4 or 5 minute droughts and looked like they didn't know how to defend or looked like they didn't know how to run the offense. But then they would overcome because the opponent wasn't that good, or we just made shots and we're just that good offensively. It was more about how we played for me in the last week and a half, 2 weeks than the number 1 ranking. And it's fun. Like, it's fun to brag. It's fun to have fun on Twitter and things like that. But now, more than even before, it's about playing your best basketball. It's about getting to the point where we were at some point during the season, I'm not sure when, that we could sit here and say, man, Tennessee's playing their best ball. That's where we got to get to immediately. It's not about the ranking. I don't care if we dropped out of the top 25, to be honest. I don't care. Tennessee has done enough with their resume where they will get a favorable draw inside the tournament. Now, last time I checked, Joe Lunardi had Tennessee the 4th number 1 or 3rd number 1.
I know Seth Davis had Tennessee. Seth Davis and CBS had Tennessee as the 4th
yes.
number 1 seed. I have not seen Does Joe? I don't believe Joe, unless I'm just completely
No, you're right.
misremembering.
You're right. Seth Davis had us as third or fourth, number one.
Because I don't think Lenardi updates his during the weekend. I think he updates Monday or Tuesday.
He did say that with that L, instead of Tennessee being like number one in the South, they could be maybe number one in the Midwest, and then Kentucky could be a number two or something in the South, which would bode well for them because every game would be like a home game. Because
he hasn't updated since the 14th.
The Big Blue Nation travels well.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I didn't mean to. He hasn't updated since the 14th, and that was when he had Tennessee playing in Columbia, South Carolina, in the South bracket, like you were saying. So, I mean, it's still nice to have a number one seed, but that's the punishment of getting blown out by Kentucky, is that instead of playing in Columbia, South Carolina, and that arena being packed full of orange, they may have to go out to L.A. or Salt Lake City, somewhere of that nature.
Hey. Just play better, man. Just play better. That's all that matters. Excuse me. Let's go to the text box this morning. And Dan D. Vandy says, let's talk about how Tennessee played a bunch of scrubs all year and got lucky against one decent team. Then got that butt whoop when actually played someone. Overrated. Going to happen again tomorrow at 7. Oh, man. I love a good troll in the morning. You never get lucky playing in a 40-minute game. You may get lucky shooting a half-court shot to win some money, but you're not going to get lucky. But I'm not going to spend much time on that comment because it was a troll. Nacho says, now I feel better about this team. Seth says, I love Admiral. Something is wrong with him. His effort was lacking on Saturday. I noticed several plays that he was walking around and not hustling. D. Cody says, my takeaway from the game, they punched us in the mouth and took our lunch money. Not blaming the refs, but the officiating was awful. Grant got his butt whooped, got hit with elbows to the face, and hit with moving screens. Good officiating doesn't let that type of game go on a neutral court. That doesn't happen, especially the post-up game down low. Especially got me heated, man. But, hey, we will take the L and move on and get ready for the next one. March 2nd is going to be live in TBA. Yeah, there's no doubt the referees were not good. There's no doubt about it. But when you do 5 or 6 things uncharacteristic and you don't take care of business, it's really hard to mention the refs as the reason why you lost. The refs were not good, but when you don't do 4 or 5 things, 6 things that you should have done better, you can't mention the refs first. You mention them after you corrected what you need to correct. If Tennessee played a clean game and got screwed out of a call because of the referees, then okay. We can talk about the referees. We can blame the referees for the loss. That's cool. But even then, you can still find a play or two in the course of a game that you can say, I should have made that play, and the referees would have not been a problem. But yes, referees were not great. Tennessee was a lot worse. Swain Event, be right back.
At work? Can't call in? Don't feel bad. You can talk to the guys on the text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Mostly sunny today with a high of 48 and a low of 28. Showers tomorrow, mostly in the afternoon with a high near 43 and a low around 38. More rain on Wednesday with the high in the mid-50s. Weather on the Swain Event is brought to you by B-Dry. If your basement is wet or cracked, B-Dry can help. BDry.com. Do you have sloping or uneven floors, foundation cracks, or a leaning chimney? Do your windows and doors not open properly, or are there gaps where the floor and walls meet? Don't worry, B-Dry offers approved foundation repair solutions like steel I-beams, helical piering, epoxy injections, carbon fiber applications, and more. Make sure that your home is on stable ground with B-Dry. Call them at 865-588-0454 or find them online at bdry.com.
Have you noticed lack of energy, motivation, and drive? Call the Low T Center and schedule a complete health assessment today. Whether you have sleep apnea and need a CPAP or have low testosterone or low thyroid levels, Low T Center will get you feeling great again. If you're a man over 30 and haven't had an annual checkup, don't wait until you feel bad. Do yourself a favor and get a quick and easy health assessment today. Services are covered by most health insurance. Call 865-392-1388 or go to lowtcenter.com. LowTCenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Goes your car insurance.
Nobody likes surprises, so switch to Erie Rate Lock. Get a great rate that stays that way even after an accident, ticket, or inflation. In fact, it's locked until you change a car, driver, or your address.
Your Erie agent in Knoxville is InsureFit RM. Get a quote at 865-684-4900. That's 865-684-4900.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
I just wanted to come by and congratulate you on the great work you've been doing.
I like your style. You remind me of a young me.
Failure is not an option.
That boy is good.
Homes, remind yourself, nobody built like you. You design yourself.
Attaboy.
All right, we have Attaboy here on the Swain Event. We highlight positivity. We highlight people making really, really good decisions, helping others. You rarely see these things highlighted in the news because negativity sells the news. But today, we have Attaboy where we're going to shed some light on people doing good things and performing good deeds. So what do we have today?
I'm going to give the Lady Vols an atta girl because they picked up a very big win yesterday evening in Columbia, Missouri over a feisty Missouri Tigers basketball team. They won 62-60. It was a close game. It's actually a good game. Both teams played well. Tennessee was just able to come out on top and get a defensive stop when they needed to. Avina Westbrook led Tennessee with 18 points and 6 assists. Renee Davis logged her 17th career double-double with 16 and 11. And then freshman forward Mimi Collins stepped up, had a big three late in the game, tied her career high of 11 points while adding 6 rebounds. And Missouri is led by Sophie Cunningham and Sierra Porter. Tennessee did a very good job of defending them as Sophie Cunningham is on the verge of becoming Missouri's all-time leading scorer, and Tennessee held her to 13 points. So folks won't admit it because they don't like Holly Warlick, but the Lady Vols have played great basketball the past 2 games, and entering Sunday, Charlie Cream of ESPN listed Tennessee as the first team out of the tournament, and now with this win on the road against Missouri, a good basketball team. Charlie Cream said after the game that this just may be the game that locked Tennessee into the tournament. And then that's encouraging because coming up, there are also games that Tennessee can boost its resume by. So I want to give the Lady Vols an atta girl because say what you will about Holly Warlick, she has her team playing the best it has all season at the right time. And then I want to give a quick atta boy to the baseball team. They swept Appalachian State over the weekend. And set a program record. It's the first time in program history that they swept an opponent with 3 consecutive shutouts. So they did not allow a single run all weekend. Appalachian State is not the greatest team, but the pitching was very dominant, and it's encouraging because it should allow them to hopefully make a push at making the NCAA tournament, something that has not happened in quite some time. So Tennessee basketball did not do so well on Saturday night, but it was still a fairly good weekend for Tennessee athletics in general, especially when you consider Jeremy Pruitt had a lot of great things to say about the coaching staff hires, and Tennessee picked up a big commitment from a 4-star defensive tackle. So good weekend for Tennessee athletics as a whole.
We're going to jump into the coaching moves by Pruitt and recruiting here in hour number 2. Playing wide receiver at this level, at the SEC level, it kind of reminds me of what happened on Saturday. If you run a route and you are looking for the pass interference call rather than attacking the football, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get that call. You're not going to get that call. You can't worry about the referees. You can't worry about getting the flag. You have to go attack the ball. And just because you get grabbed a little bit, just because the DB may chuck you a little bit and be physical with you a little bit more than what you're used to, you have to make the adjustment. You have to worry about what you're doing. you're doing. You have to do your job. If you're not running good routes, if you're not running clean, if you're not getting off the press, if you're not tacking the ball when the ball's in the air, don't look for a call from the referee. And I relate that to basketball because if you're not going to the basket, if you're not being aggressive, if you're not being assertive, if you're not attacking 50-50 balls better, the referees are not going to reward passive play. They're not going to reward you for that. You got to attack the ball, attack the basket, and I didn't think Tennessee did enough of that. I guarantee you we will see a change the next time Tennessee plays, and I guarantee you we will see a change next time Tennessee plays a team that is as good as Kentucky because Vanderbilt, but LSU is right up there. They beat Kentucky. They played well. I think Kentucky is a better basketball team than LSU. LSU beat them, but they'll get a test here really, really quick this next weekend and really show that they have made those adjustments and improvements from this past Saturday.
It might be the biggest adjustment that Tennessee needs to make in terms of playing Kentucky a second time is Kyle Alexander. Kyle Alexander did not belong in that basketball game on Saturday.
He looked shook.
I mean, and it's just not his style of play to go up against a guy like Reed Travis and P.J. Washington. That's just not his game. But I am encouraged because against LSU has some big, tall, athletic guys, and those are the type of guys that Kyle Alexander can compete with. Kyle Alexander struggles against big physical guys that try to punch you in the mouth. LSU is a little more – they lean more on their athleticism than they do just, okay, I'm going to overpower you. LSU wants to jump over you and dunk on you and use their athleticism to make plays, and that's when Kyle Alexander is at his best, is when he can use his athleticism and block some shots, grab some offensive rebounds, have some putbacks. But against Kentucky, he's just too skinny to try and box out P.J. Washington, try to box out Reed Travis, try to defend those guys. So Grant Williams needs to step up and be that guy that can limit P.J. Washington. But they're going to have to find somebody else in that basketball game, whether it's John Fulkerson, Derek Walker. Maybe they just need to go small and have Admiral and Grant play the 4 and 5, and Bowden, Lamonte, and Bone roll with that lineup. Kentucky is just not a great matchup for Kyle, unfortunately.
They was knocking Kyle around on the block, and then he was getting called for foul. And one time, they went straight into the chest of Admiral Schofield, and he was called for a foul. A lot of inconsistent calls down there in the trenches of the paint of basketball, the trenches of basketball, the low block. Referees were not good. Tennessee was worse. All right, Tennessee football coming up next. Stay with us.
Touchdown or turnover is up next on the Swain Event.
We're here with Dr. Mike Carlson of Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine. If you have orthopedic injuries such as shoulder pain, knee pain, or instability, Achilles tendonitis, golfers, or tennis elbow, do what I did and give them a call.
Yeah, Jason, we specialize in regenerative non-surgical orthopedics. So we treat damaged ligaments, tendons, and joints, including things like rotator cuff injuries, knee instability, elbow problems, as well as foot problems like plantar fasciitis, Achilles, things of that nature, by injecting with stem cells and what's called PRP, or platelet-rich plasma. And this form of treatment we do under ultrasound, so we know we have our target. And it also stimulates the body's own reparative process, and this allows for the healing of damaged tissue. And as you well know, numerous professional and collegiate athletes, guys like Steph Curry, Tiger Woods, and even yourself with your ankle injury, have been using this form of treatment for years. And so we offer that same type of treatment here in East Tennessee.
Visit them on the web at trsportsmedicine.com. Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine. East Tennessee's leader in regenerative therapy. When I made the move to my own studio, I was worried about this. I was worried about that. I was worried about, hey, did I get this piece of equipment? Did I get that piece of equipment? Does that sound good? Does that not sound good? One thing I didn't have to worry about, that was office furniture, because Office Furniture Outfitters met my furniture needs. With a 50,000 square foot facility, they have East Tennessee's largest selection and are the best value for new and used office furniture. Located in Knoxville, it's easy to find everything you need for your new space, including desks, file cabinets, chairs, conference tables, and more. Office Furniture Outfitters is turnkey. They came to my place, we mapped everything out that was needed, they delivered, and get this, set everything up. To learn more about what Office Furniture Outfitters can do for you, log on to ofonox.com. That's ofonox.com.
Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong.
Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union has helped people save money for almost 80 years. Whether it's free checking, financing a vehicle, or purchasing that new home, Alcoa 10 is here to help you. Better rates, better service. Check them out at atfcu.com.
Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong.
Member NCUA.
Touchdown or turnover is backed by Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong.
Touchdown turnover backed by Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong. Better rates and better service. I'll make this really simple, really easy here. Touchdown turnover. The football staff, the current football staff, with the adjustments and the hires, is better than the previous staff, the previous Jeremy Pruitt staff, the 2018 staff. Touchdown turnover, this staff is better.
I think this is the best Tennessee coaching staff, at least since 2009 with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin brought in a lot of big names, especially Monty Kiffin, just a brilliant defensive mind. So off the top of my head, I think it's the best staff since the end of Coach Fulmer, since Lane Kiffin, at least on paper. I'd like to at least, that's off the top of my head. It's kind of hard to compare when you don't have a list of the entire staff, but in terms of recruiting, I think it's the best staff Tennessee has had in a while. It's definitely better than last year's staff. I think you upgraded at a lot of positions. I don't think Tennessee, with all the new moves with Chaney and T. Martin and Derek Ainsley, those are all upgrades over what you had. I like the combination of David Johnson and T. Martin rather than Chris Winkie and David Johnson. I think T. Martin is as good of an X's and O's coach as David Johnson is in terms of developing wide receivers. T. Martin's a better recruiter than David Johnson, so I think it's a step up there. Jim Chaney, we know he's an upgraded offensive coordinator. I don't think we really need to dive into that. And then Derek Ainsley, as unfortunate as it is to see Terry Fair and a former Vol not work out, Derek Ainsley is an upgrade over Terry Fair, both in recruiting and both on the field. And I think that's why you see Jeremy Pruitt giving the play calling duties to him, because as you mentioned during the break, Pruitt said on Friday that he's really the only guy that can kind of complete his sentences, and that was pretty cool to hear. So I definitely think this staff has upgraded over the offseason and is better both on the field in terms of coaching up the players and off the field in terms of recruiting than it was last year.
It's an easy touchdown for me. Easy. Number one, you have improved your staff from a recruiting standpoint. Number two, you improve your staff from X's and O's standpoint. You did that with just one hire in Jim Chaney. Now, last week, I was expecting another coaching change. I was expecting another move. It did not happen. Why didn't it happen? Well, it's simple as that. It comes down to money. Comes down to money. Terry Fair, about $250,000, was offered an opportunity to be in an off the field role. Okay. It was better for Pruitt in Tennessee that another DB coach come in, and Terry was going to be off the football field and kind of allowed to learn from afar, and not saying that he doesn't know how to coach DBs, but again, it's about working within the system and being a fit with the rest of the staff. We understand Jeremy Pruitt, he's a DB coach. We understand he is the head coach who's a defensive coordinator. And so him learning how to be a head coach is knowing when to kind of take his hands off. Terry was allowed to make $250,000 and be off the football field. Let's not pretend like he was going to be just chilling. No, he was probably going to be worked even more off the football field, but still maintain the same pay. And so that is something that he didn't want to do. And they decided to part ways. So you can call it he got fired. You can say it don't matter. He ain't here. And hopefully both sides are cool and Terry does not have a sour taste in his mouth, because that would be the worst, being a former player, giving your all for Tennessee as a player, being so prideful in your program, and then this happened to you. I remember when Chuck Smith was fired by Derek Dooley, and the interview at Neyland Stadium, although it was very entertaining and funny, it was not great, because I didn't want Chuck Smith to have a sour taste about his time at Tennessee, because that did not end well at all. Same thing goes for Terry Fair. Now, back to the potential staff movement from last week. There was enough information to support that they could have been a staff move. I just mentioned that Terry Fair had a $250,000 buyout. When all these coaches were signed last year and part of Pruitt's inaugural staff, they got 2-year deals. 2-year deals. Butch Jones is still being paid. Butch Jones' staff is still being paid at some point here and there. Coach Foreman did not want to dish out any more buyouts. That is basically throwing money in the trash. That's basically burning money by paying buyouts. And if Tennessee would have made another change anywhere else other than Niedermeyer, we know Niedermeyer ain't going anywhere, because Niedermeyer is the lowest paid coach. He shouldn't be, but he is. Anywhere else, any change anywhere else besides Niedermeyer would have been a hit, and you would have been paying almost $750,000 in buyout money if you would have let someone go. That's Chris Winkie, that's David Johnson, that's Tracy Rocker, that is Chris Rump, anyone besides Niedermeyer. If you would have let them go to add another piece to the staff, you would have been paying, if not $750,000, over $750,000. And so that's not what you want if you're Jeremy Pruitt.
You needed somebody to leave on their own account.
Yes, and not pay the buyout money. And I'm a big fan of David Johnson as a teacher. The players respond very well to him. They respect him. They love him. I think David Johnson will be fine coaching running backs. No problem. No doubt about it. Again, I'm a huge David Johnson fan. But here's the challenge for David Johnson. Pruitt and this staff, they want recruiters first, right? Recruiters. And then they'll figure out where to put guys and where to put a coach to coach a certain position. If I asked you, where is David Johnson's best state that he recruits, what would you say? The best state.
State? I don't think there is a best state. I think there's a best city in a state, and that's Memphis.
The best state is Louisiana for him because that's where he's from. He has ties there. He coached high school ball there. He coached Tyrann Mathieu when he was high school coach. That's where he has most of his relationships. Louisiana, not Memphis. Now, he coached in Memphis, but even when he was coaching in Memphis, he wasn't recruiting the best players from Memphis to have a shot. He wasn't going to get those best players from Memphis. Those best players from Memphis were going to Alabama. LSU. They were going to LSU. They were going to Texas A&M. They were going to Tennessee. They was not going to Memphis. So he might have talked to them when they were freshmen or sophomores, maybe sent a letter or something like that. But as juniors and seniors, David Johnson wasn't going to recruit those guys. He was not going to have a chance at Memphis. Here's the tricky thing for David Johnson. He's a great coach. Mm-hmm. His ties are in a state that you're not going to win if you're Tennessee. You're not winning any battles from Louisiana. Number one, Ed Orgeron is in Louisiana. Ed Orgeron ain't letting anybody leave the state of Louisiana. If you're going to get anyone from Louisiana, it's probably going to be Alabama.
And here's the thing. Not only is Coach O trying to take over Louisiana, Alabama has had a lot of success going in and stealing players. And then now Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher has had great success going into Louisiana, as has Tom Herman at Texas. To your point, you're not going to win that area of the country whatsoever. And
nope.
I agree with you. Theoretically, Louisiana should be his state where he should be able to recruit well. But based off of kind of the recruits that he has brought into Tennessee, Melvin McBride, Eric Gray, he's credited as the primary recruiter on that. Memphis has been his quote-unquote hot spot, I guess you could say.
Yeah. You don't want to completely abandon an area or a state. You want to have some presence there. You know, you might be able to get a Charlene LaBruza, and I know Charlene LaBruza has not necessarily worked out well for Tennessee, which is a total shock, but you don't want to just not have any presence at all. But you don't want to spend a lot of time there because you're not going to get those top players more times than not. You better spend your time in Charlotte, Atlanta, Ohio,
Tennessee,
Mississippi, other areas like that, maybe Florida. You're not gonna get guys out of Louisiana. They got too much going on. If you're from the state of Louisiana, you're not gonna make it out. So on the surface, it looks like David Johnson's, I won't say worth. That's a really the wrong word to use here. But it looks like his advantage or his leverage is not as strong as other coaches because he is strong in Louisiana and they're not letting folks go. Now, Chris Winkie, he was supposed to be strong at MIG. He was supposed to be. That was supposed to be one of the major reasons why you decided to replace Robert Gillespie with him. Last year, he coached running backs. I didn't think the running backs were all that great. And last year, I didn't think we recruited well at MIG, to be honest. Now he's in a better spot because he's coaching his natural position at quarterback. This is a position that he coached in the NFL. He does not have to recruit as much because you now have added T. Martin to the fold. So you just bolstered the recruiting staff with T. Martin. So it takes pressure off of David Johnson. It takes pressure off Chris Winkie. Whereas last year, all the pressure was on Brian Niedermeyer. Brian Niedermeyer was the one that had to close the big-time players. This year, you add T. Martin.
You got three guys.
You have Derek Ansley on defense, and Terry Fair wasn't one of your top recruiters. That's not something that Terry was great at. That's not something that Terry had a lot of experience at. He was a quality control guy here at Tennessee under Butch Jones, so he taught the recruits when they were on campus, but he did not leave the complex to go to the high schools, to get in the streets to recruit players. He did not do that in the SEC, which is why I thought he got the contract, the salary that he got. But you added a huge recruiting boost on your staff. So T. Martin, assistant head coach, passing game coordinator, wide receiver coach. David Johnson, running back coach, even though I think he's better as a receiver coach. He's just that good.
He can still be successful coaching the running back.
He's just that good at wide receiver. I think he'll be a better running back coach than Chris Winkie. I truly believe that. And then you put Chris Winkie in his natural position of coaching quarterback. So it worked out. This is a dang good staff. I don't remember a staff this good since 2009, like you just mentioned, with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin had a great staff, a great X's and O's football staff with a staff that can recruit their butts off. So this is a great staff. Could have been a change, but it wasn't. It worked out. You save yourself some buyout money, and you still have a dang good staff, a group of guys that can coach the hell out of some football.
Yeah. Just a little more context on what we were talking about in terms of recruiting Louisiana. Tennessee has 4 guys on its roster that hail from the state of Louisiana: Terrell Bailey, Brandon Davis, Cheyenne LaBruza, and Kenneth George Jr. Out of those 4, how many of those were highly touted guys?
0.
LaBruza was a high 3-star, depending on what site you looked at.
Let's not even say highly rated. Let's just say contributor, because the recruiting services made me mad over last week.
I agree, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of the point of why I'm bringing how many guys up Tennessee has from Louisiana on its roster is because my point is, and the point that you were alluding to, is that based off recruiting rankings, you're not going to be able to go into Louisiana and get a high-level 4-star or a high-level 5-star. The only guys that you're going to be able to go in there and get are guys that LSU does not want, guys that Alabama doesn't come in and steal, guys that Texas schools do not come and steal. They're going to be the under-the-radar prospects that you think you can turn into something, as is the case with Terrell Bailey, Brandon Davis, Cheyenne LaBruza, and Kenneth George Jr. Those are guys that at the time of when they signed, they're like, oh, yeah, that guy could be a hidden gem. Point being, the only guys that you're going to be able to go in and get are those quote-unquote hidden gems.
Yeah, I mean, just taking the star completely out of it, if LSU identifies a football player that can play for them,
he's going there.
And if they want him, then they're going to LSU. Now, we have seen, dating back 11 years ago, where Tennessee has slow played a local player, and the local player goes somewhere else and blows up because they felt like they were slighted. That could happen at LSU too. That means you had to get in early. You got to get in, and this is where David Johnson can do, because he has relationships. Now, I highly doubt that David Johnson will know about a kid early and LSU not knowing about him. But if you listen to the Jonathan Wade's Swain Event Plus interview, that's why we got Jonathan Wade. LSU was kind of fiddle-farting around with their offer of Jonathan Wade, and Jonathan Wade was going on and being a great track athlete and breaking records. But LSU football slow-played Wade, and Tennessee came in and was his first offer, and boom, the rest is history. When's the last time? What's the last player from Louisiana that's been a baller for Tennessee? I ain't talking about rankings. I don't care about that. I'm talking about a baller for Tennessee. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Jonathan Wade.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Well, and to your point about Jay Wade, it's why Tennessee did not get Chris Russell. It's why Chris Russell went to Texas A&M. Nobody talks about it because Tennessee ended up landing Henry To'oTo'o, but Tennessee slow played Chris Russell, and I think in an ideal world, Tennessee would have liked to have had both, but it's why they missed out on Chris Russell and why he ended up at Texas A&M. But in terms of the last baller from Louisiana, we'd have to go roster by roster. Was Prentice Wagner from Louisiana? Wasn't he from Louisiana?
LSU want Prentice Wagner? I don't remember.
He was from Louisiana, though, wasn't he?
I'm saying it's been a long time. This is what's so hard for David Johnson. Like, it's great to have ties in Louisiana. It's great if you coach at LSU. Like, if David Johnson was coaching at LSU, oh, man, he would have it made. But he's not. He's not. He's not coaching at LSU. He's coaching in Tennessee and making a whole lot of money. And so David's in a really weird spot here. He's in a weird spot. his ties are in a state where you're not going to go in and recruit players. He's in a tough spot. He's a dang good coach. I love me some David Johnson. And you look at, you look at a guy like Kevin Simon. Okay, his ties in California. You don't think that helped got Henry To'oTo'o?
It absolutely did.
Dang right it did. And so David's in a weird spot. He's in a weird spot. I'm glad he is here though, because I would have not liked him being on another SEC sideline. He's a dang good coach. Unfortunately, his home state is locked down with chains and a huge wire electrical fence.
The only way those ties are going to pay off for David Johnson is if he is at LSU.
Pretty much.
And it's not his fault. It's just the way it is.
Or Alabama. Yep. LSU or Alabama. That's how David Johnson can use his relationships to get players from Louisiana. Any other school? No. Maybe Texas A&M. Maybe Texas A&M.
I want to talk about this on the other side of the break.
865-200-5503. Stay with us.
While the other guys are taking guesses, the Swain Event is taking you behind the scenes and in the huddle every morning from 7 till 10 right here.
Top 100 barbecue restaurant Dead End BBQ has a new slew of daily specials for the fall. Enjoy a different special meal every day, like the smokehouse stew, barbecue cheddar meatloaf, or the smoked turkey and dressing, which includes sliced smoked turkey and cornbread dressing paired with sauteed Brussels sprouts, mashed potatoes, and a side of turkey gravy. While Dead End offers a different specialty meal each day, you can get their hillbilly chili every day. There is always something new at Dead End BBQ. Located off of Sutherland Avenue, Dead End BBQ. The fall flavor search is over.
We have all made the mistake of dropping or breaking our smartphones. See? But did you know that you can have it repaired for a fraction of the cost it takes to replace it? Well, you can, because iDrop is the area's leading mobile repair store, home of the 1 hour or less phone repair, 1 year parts warranty, and #1 customer service. Broken screens, cracked cameras, charging ports, batteries, you break it, we'll fix it. If you didn't break your phone, protect it with one of our leading accessories such as LifeProof, OtterBox, UAG, Incipico, Caseology, and Spec. Visit our West Hills location at 7115 Kingston Pike between Office Depot and Hardee's, or call 865-888-9740 and speak with our trained technicians to see how we can get your phone working today.
When you see the happy face on our truck, you'll be smiling because you'll know that you're in love.
It's freezing in here, Mary. What's wrong with your heater? The repairman can't get here till next week. Sugar, you've got the wrong guy. My guy is fast and has free heating service calls when he does the repair.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Hiller. Take advantage of a free service call with any repair.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
We're here with Dr. Mike Carlson of Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine. If you have orthopedic injuries such as shoulder pain, knee pain, or instability, Achilles tendonitis, golfers, or tennis elbow, do what I did and give them a call.
Yeah, Jason, we specialize in regenerative non-surgical orthopedics. So we treat damaged ligaments, tendons, and joints, including things like rotator cuff injuries, knee instability, elbow problems, as well as foot problems like plantar fasciitis, Achilles, things of that nature, by injecting with stem cells and what's called PRP, or platelet-rich plasma. And this form of treatment we do under ultrasound, so we know we have our target. And it also stimulates the body's own reparative process, and this allows for the healing of damaged tissue. And as you well know, numerous professional and collegiate athletes, guys like Steph Curry, Tiger Woods, and even yourself with your ankle injury, have been using this form of treatment for years. And so we offer that same type of treatment here in East Tennessee.
Visit them on the web at trsportsmedicine.com. Tennessee Regenerative Sports Medicine, East Tennessee's leader in regenerative therapy.
Goes your car insurance.
Nobody likes surprises, so switch to Erie Rate Lock. Get a great rate that stays that way even after an accident, ticket, or inflation. In fact, it's locked until you change a car, driver, or your address.
Your Erie agent in Knoxville is InsureFit RM. Get a quote at 865-684-4900. That's 865-684-4900.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
If you aren't following the Swain Event on Twitter, then are you even on Twitter? Hit that follow button. It's the right thing to do.
HappyHealer.com. Go there and check out their true transparency pricing. This is where you know the cost of your part plus a fair service repair fee up front. No tricks, no surprises. You get that information up front before you commit to any repairs. That is the promise of Healer Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Happy you'll be, or the service is free. I had Hiller come out to the house about 2 weeks ago, and I want to experience their service. Man, I sat there and had a great conversation with my technician. They took a look over the HVAC unit and did a lot of cleanup work, but you can rest assured that if someone is advertising on this show, it's going to be because more times than not, I'm going to experience the service myself. I'm not going to tell you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. And so I brought Hiller out here and told them to treat me like a normal customer. I paid the normal price, and I can tell you right now, it was a great experience. It was a great experience. So I encourage you, if you have any issues, plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, if you are in Memphis, Knoxville, anywhere in between, call Hiller. If you are in Bowling Green, Kentucky, call Hiller. If you are in Huntsville, Alabama, call Hiller. Call Hiller. Ben, before the break, you had a question. You had something you want to pose.
So, Nick Saban following the national championship game, and granted, this is a problem that we would love to have, and hopefully Tennessee can get back to this point, but the critics were saying that Nick Saban's coaching staff was too recruiting heavy, that he emphasized recruiters over coaches, and as a result, that is why Alabama struggled to make adjustments at halftime of the national championship game against Clemson, and many think that is one of the biggest reasons Clemson coach circles around Alabama. Does it concern you that this coaching staff has an emphasis on recruiting?
No. I will worry about that when we get there. I'm just trying to get to a bowl game. I'm just trying to get to Atlanta.
Beat Vanderbilt?
I'm just trying to beat Vanderbilt. I'm just trying to beat Vanderbilt, Missouri consistently. I'm trying to do that, man. South Carolina, my goodness. I'm trying to beat those guys consistently. When we do that, then we can worry about other issues. But even with these changes, you upgraded recruiting and you upgraded from X's and O's standpoint. Look at last year's coordinators. They were first-time coordinators. You had a first-time head coach, and then you had a first-time two dudes who are coordinators for the first time in this conference. I know Helton was a coordinator before, but not like in the SEC. Now you have a guy in Jim Chaney that not only has coordinated in the SEC, but he's been successful at multiple stops inside the SEC. And then you added Derek Ansley that if you work in the NFL as a DB coach, you can be a DC at the college level. If you work on John Gruden's staff, that means you're highly respected as an X's and O's coach. Say whatever you want to say about John Gruden and his love of attention and how he carries himself. Dumb for trading away Khalil Mack. Dumb for trading away Amari Cooper. Not really great at managing players. Dating back to his time at Tampa Bay. Yes, he won a Super Bowl, but that was a veteran team. I'm not one that's going to sit here and go, well, those are Tony Dungy's players. So what? It ain't like you got to recruit him at the NFL level anyways. But what he did do was he managed those players well because they were already a veteran group that had leadership from within. The Derek Brooks of the world, the John Lynch of the world, He already had guys, the Sheldon Quarles, Keyshawn Johnson.
Mike Allstott on that team?
Mike Allstott, Brad Johnson. You had leadership already on that team. And so Derek Ansley coming over, I'm not worried about him being a first-time defense coordinator because he came from the Raiders. He came from the NFL game. And he's someone who worked along Jeremy Pruitt for multiple years. And so I'm good there.
Well, and real quick, honestly, if he doesn't work out, there is a safety net behind Ansley in the sense of Jeremy Pruitt can take over.
Yeah. $1 million a year.
He better work out. He better work out, but if he doesn't, at least there is a safety net there. Whereas last year with Tyson Helton, if Tyson Helton didn't work out, you were just up a creek.
Yeah, I like Darren Ansley, man. I really do. You look at kind of estimating the difference from last year's staff salary to this year, I think you added about $1 million because Tyson Helton was 1.2, Chaney's around 1.6, so that's $400,000, and then with Terry Fair about $250,000, and now you're paying Derek Ansley about $750,000 more. And so you have added $1.1 million to the coaching salary around that number, and that's going to be that's like top 5 in the country.
Yeah, I think another cool way to look at it is, we like to ask in terms of, we did this with Butch Jones, particularly in his last couple of recruiting classes. Would the guys that he is bringing in play at Alabama, play at Georgia, play at Florida? With these coaches that have been brought in, I think Tennessee has 4 coaches that any head coach in the country would take on their coaching staff. And Brian Niedermeyer because of his recruiting ability.
Yes.
T. Martin because of his coaching and recruiting ability.
Yes.
Derek Ansley, coaching, recruiting ability. And I think Jim Chaney.
Yep.
And I think that speaks volumes to how good this coaching staff can be.
Great point. So last break, I asked who was the last player for Louisiana to be a contributor, a playmaker for Tennessee. We got names back like Jansen Jackson. We got names back like Lucas Taylor. Who else?
Somebody said Justin Hunter, but he is actually from Virginia.
Yeah.
Somebody said Peyton Manning.
Yeah, Peyton Manning. Seriously, can you name the last baller from Louisiana? And not even like an all-conference player, but a contributor. I guess like a Coy Vereen type who was just solid. Who was the last Coy Vereen type player from Louisiana?
Jansen Jackson.
3 coaches ago.
Yeah.
3 coaches ago.
He was brought in first year of Dooley?
09. He was part of.
Okay, so he's a freshman for Kiffin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
He got kicked off by the time his junior year rolled around, correct?
He
played 09.
He got kicked off by Dooley, but he was actually better than Eric Barrett his freshman year,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
it's absurd.
Yeah, he's a freak, or he was a freak.
It still is a freak, just for different reasons.
Yeah. But that just shows you. I'm making a case why David Johnson's job is hard. It's hard to recruit Louisiana. It's hard. And that's why the T. Martin edition is so important to this offensive recruiting staff, because it takes pressure off of David Johnson. It really does. It really does. 865-250-503, Be Dry Waterproofing Hotline. Golly. Lucas Taylor. Lucas Taylor was a stud, but I guess it was Jansen Jackson last time. 10 years ago. Let that sink in. 865-250-503, Be Dry Waterproofing Hotline. Stay with us.
For a replay of each day's Swain Event TV, like us on Facebook.
We have all made the mistake of dropping or breaking our smartphones. See? But did you know that you can have it repaired for a fraction of the cost it takes to replace it? Well, you can, because iDrop is the area's leading mobile repair store, home of the 1 hour or less phone repair, 1 year parts warranty, and #1 customer service. Broken screens, cracked cameras, charging ports, batteries. You break it, we'll fix it. If you didn't break your phone, protect it with one of our leading accessories such as LifeProof, OtterBox, UAG, Incipico, Caseology, and Spec. Visit our West Hills location at 7115 Kingston Pike between Office Depot and Hardee's, or call 865-888-9740 and speak with our trained technicians to see how we can get your phone working today.
When you see the happy face on our truck, you'll be smiling because you'll know that you're in love.
It's freezing in here, Mary. What's wrong with your heater? The repairman can't get here till next week. Sugar, you've got the wrong guy. My guy is fast and has free heating service calls when he does the repair.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Hiller. Take advantage of a free service call with any repair.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
While the other guys are taking guesses, the Swain Event is taking you behind the scenes and in the huddle every morning from 7 till 10 right here.
JC's Tree and Landscaping Service specializes in quality tree work done at an affordable price. Trimming and removing trees are their specialty. They also offer other services like land clearing, stump grinding, crane services, and all of your basic landscaping needs for both commercial and residential. JC's will give you a free estimate and beat any written quote by a competitor to guarantee that you get the lowest price around. Don't risk your land with a fly-by-night service. JC's Tree and Landscaping is licensed and insured. Give them a call at 865-599-3799.
Craving flavors that don't take hours in the kitchen? Mrs. Grissom's cheese spreads and chicken salads are the perfect go-to. Ready-to-eat meals and snacks found in the meat or dairy section at your local grocery store. Whether you crave the classic Mrs. Grissom's pimento cheese or the gluten-free select varieties like the cranberry pecan chicken salad, enjoy small-town flavor in every bite. Select the best. Select Mrs. Grissom's.
I'm Vince Moore, wide receiver, VFL 1991, and you're listening to the Swain Event. Around the SEC, powered by 42nd Street Marketing, your game-winning play call for design, marketing, and branding.
All right, Around the SEC is brought to you by 42nd Street Design. 42sd.com is the website. Folks, if you need a new website, you need a new logo, you need any type of print design, call my friend Mike at 865-382-7007 or go to their website, again, at 42sd.com and fill out their website form if you have any questions. They'll contact you by submitting your information and take it from there. You can feel confident that your brand was designed with the attention it deserves, and that's what you would get with 42nd Street. All right, Ben, let's take a look around the SEC. I don't think we need to go to Rupp. We know what happened at Rupp. We know about that 411, that 187 up in Rupp.
What is Rupp Arena? I'm not aware of who or what Rupp Arena is, so I'm going to avoid it. Like you said, I'm going to first off start by mentioning Alabama's coaching staff. I'm not going to list you who all is at what position. I just want you to know that Butch Jones remains an intern for the Crimson Tide. Alabama officially announced its coaching staff, I believe, last Thursday, and I forgot to mention this on Friday because we got caught up in the Kentucky-Tennessee preview show on Friday. But Butch Jones, not an offensive coach for Alabama, as some projected a couple of months ago. He is a senior offensive analyst.
Come on, Nick Saban, give him a chance, man. What are you doing, Nick?
I said I think Butch Jones should have been Alabama's offensive coordinator, should have been the quarterback's coach. I think Butch Jones would have been great for Tua Tagovailoa's development. I truly think it would have.
Come on, man. Former head coach.
Golly, man. I mean, it would be no Antonio Brown if it wasn't for Butch. Put him in wide receivers coach, Nick. I mean, why'd you bring in some guy that no one heard of, man?
I mean,
you could have went with Butch there.
Why would you want to bring in – why would you not want to have the guy that thought J.J. Watt should be a tight end?
Yeah, man.
Why would you not want that?
Perfect.
But unfortunately, in basketball news, outside of the Tennessee game, there were a lot of games played on Saturday. Not a lot of big games. Auburn struggled with Vanderbilt for most of the game, but did pull out an 11-point win, 64-53. South Carolina took care of business and beat Texas A&M 84-77. Alabama looked absolutely terrible against Florida as the Gators won 71-53. Ole Miss beat Missouri by 10. LSU squeaked out a win over Georgia. The first game that Georgia has played in a while. I was hoping and praying that Georgia was going to win that basketball game because at worst case, if at that time we did not know how Tennessee-Kentucky was going to play out, but at that time I was thinking, okay, if Tennessee does lose this basketball game tonight, it sure would be nice if LSU lost this game so that they could have another SEC loss.
Yeah. I don't think the Georgia win, if that was to happen, would have made LSU play worse or better against Tennessee, but it sure would have helped Tennessee as far as the regular season conference standings for sure.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's why I was kind of hoping that Georgia would pull that game out. And then in other football, one basketball note, Quindary Weatherspoon, Mississippi State star player, has been suspended indefinitely for a violation of team rules. That was kind of out of the blue, announced on Friday, and that is a big loss for that basketball team. And hopefully he is suspended through the Tennessee game here in a couple of weeks.
If it was like Urban Meyer, man, how he suspend people down there in Florida, he will be in the starting lineup against Tennessee.
Oh, most definitely. But it would not be announced until tip-off. And then looking ahead to Tuesday night slate, Tennessee and Vanderbilt play at 7, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Alabama, A&M, and Kentucky travels to Missouri. LSU's midweek game is against Florida. So it's going to stink, but go Gators in this basketball game. We need – if Tennessee does not beat LSU on Saturday, I don't know whether they will or not. I think they will, but I'm not 100% convinced that they will. If, worst case scenario, Tennessee does lose to LSU, Tennessee is going to need LSU to lose a game down the stretch that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And essentially win out. So I don't care who LSU is playing for the rest of the season. I'm cheering for the team that they are playing against. And unfortunately, if that has to be Florida, if that has to be Alabama, then so be it. I'm trying to win this SEC regular season championship.
You mentioned Quindary Weatherspoon. Dude, getting suspended indefinitely during the season is like the worst look ever.
Especially at this time of the year.
Like, what are you doing? It's in season. It's crunch time. You're trying to make a tournament run. You're trying to play your best basketball. What are you doing that you got yourself suspended indefinitely? That's like going to a job interview and failing a drug test after not having a job for a couple months. That's like failing a drug test at the NFL Combine. Are you serious about playing football or playing basketball? This is the worst time to get suspended. What are you doing?
It does not make sense. Wrapping up around the SEC, the old ball coach is officially back. His mighty Orlando AAF football team picked up a huge win, Swain. Huge win over the San Antonio Commanders last night. And in typical Steve Spurrier fashion, he had some comments after the game.
This is not an easy atmosphere to play in. It was very loud at times. How did you combat the noise?
I think it was just as loud as Rocky Top, to tell you the truth. And I know the Swamp is maybe a little bit louder than him.
He said the Swamp was a little bit louder?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is he lying? from his perspective?
Not from his perspective.
See, unlike most folks who just get emotional if the first time someone says something about Tennessee, folks get emotional and they don't think and they want to just clap back. Steve Spurrier is right from his point of view. When he has come to Neyland Stadium, it has not been louder than it was when he was coaching in Gainesville because he's had success in Knoxville. We just hate that he says it.
Yeah, I quoted, CBS tweeted out the video. Well, not just CBS. Everybody was tweeting out the video last night, and I quote tweeted one of them and jokingly said, "Just a reminder, Steve Spurrier has a losing record to Butch Jones."
That's the thing that he should be ashamed of.
Butch Jones is 3-0 against Steve Spurrier.
Butch Jones made him quit during the season.
No, but see, I said that I pointed that out in joking fashion. I wasn't butthurt about Steve Spurrier. Well, I'm talking about in a lot of people. There were people that were upset that Steve Spurrier made that comment, and it's like it's not that deep. He's just having fun, and honestly, that is great for the AAF, for him to be making comments like that.
I hate it because you got pride in your school, and you hate that someone takes a dig at your school. What you hate even more is that when it's true, and you can't say anything back. I mean, listen, I'm a Tennessee guy, but I know how to put my emotions on the shelf and call it like I see it, which is Steve Spurrier is right. Sorry. He's right. He's right.
He's right.
I'll tell you something else that's right. Even though Kentucky beat down Tennessee by 17 points, Tennessee has still had success under Rick Barnes against Kentucky and Calipari, and it shouldn't be like that. Remember this general observation that was made by people that said Tennessee football, man, should never have to brag about beating Vanderbilt or Kentucky or South Carolina or Missouri. Man, that's just a example of fall from grace, and man, a program like that should never measure themselves by those programs, wins over those programs. When you look at the NBA All-Star game, which I had a chance to look at, the three-point shooting contest, the All-Star game, man, a whole lot of Kentucky guys playing. Whole lot of Kentucky guys. A lot of guys. And for Calipari to only have one championship, I mean, if Nick Saban only had one championship, recruiting #1 classes for 10 years straight, people would be criticizing Nick Saban. Calipari does not get any criticism. Calipari's only won one championship at Kentucky with half of the NBA All-Stars.
Dude,
I'm not just saying this because Tennessee lost to Kentucky.
No, it's the truth.
I'm just saying it's the truth.
I've been singing that song for years now. For the last 2 or 3 years, I've been singing that song. He consistently has the best players come out of high school year in and year out. He should have more than one championship. It's remarkable how many Final Fours that he has gotten to, but that doesn't take away the fact that he should have more than one national championship. Especially when you look at, 12 was the year that they won it. What was the year that they nearly went undefeated?
I'm not sure, but they lost to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. That year they should have won it.
I mean, no, the team that recruits on Alabama's level in basketball, there's only one program, and that's Kentucky. And Duke now, but over the long period, you look at the last 8-9 years, it's been Kentucky. Yeah. Duke just got on board with the one and done.
Yeah, Coach K finally was like, this seems like a good idea. Let's do that.
But if you go look at it, the one basketball program that has recruited like Alabama football over the last 8-9 years, it is Coach Calipari, and it is Kentucky.
Yep.
And they only have one championship to show for, but you look at the NBA All-Star game, and they're littered with Kentucky players. And I'm not just saying that because Tennessee lost. I actually thought about this yesterday when I was watching the All-Star game, and I saw DeMarcus Cousins, I saw De'Aaron Fox, and I saw all these dudes, Anthony Davis, all these Kentucky guys, Devin Booker, competing in three-point competition. One championship.
But that's none of my business.
But I'm going to pull up Matt Jones. But y'all over here bragging about beating Tennessee. Y'all should beat Tennessee. Tennessee ain't a basketball school, even though Tennessee's #1. What a beatdown. Whew. What a beatdown.
That hurt my soul.
Needed it too, man. Needed a beatdown. Needed to be humble. Admiral Schofield mentioned that. Hour 2 continues after this.
For what is coming up on the Swain Event.
Mostly sunny today with a high of 48 and a low of 28. Showers tomorrow, mostly in the afternoon with a high near 43 and a low around 38. More rain on Wednesday with the high in the mid-50s. Weather on the Swain Event is brought to you by B-Dry. If your basement is wet or cracked, B-Dry can help. BDry.com. B-Dry is celebrating 60 years of protecting homes across the U.S. They are the basement and crawl space experts. There has been historic rainfall in East Tennessee recently. If you are experiencing wet foundation walls, puddles on your floor, or water where your floor and wall meet, then you should call B-Dry. They have over 500,000 customers nationwide. B-Dry gives free estimates for all homeowners, financing is available, and if you mention the Swain Event, B-Dry will give you $500 off a full perimeter basement waterproofing solution. Wet basement? Better call B-Dry, 865-588-0454 or online at bdry.com.
Do you want a custom themed tumbler or bottle to show off your team spirit every day of the week? Well, look no further than Game Time Sidekicks. Every design has you, the fan, in mind. Their tumblers and bottles are double-walled, vacuum-insulated stainless steel, and their quality is second to none in the market. From stainless steel sippy cups to tumblers and sports bottles, Game Time Sidekicks offers something for the fan of all ages to rep their team with. They have many different logo options, so fans will have something they are proud to carry around all the time. Use promo code SWAIN at checkout to get 20% off of your entire purchase at GameTimeSidekicks.com. They also offer $5 flat rate shipping. Be sure to check out the Game Time Workshop on the website and customize your tumbler to make it one of a kind with things like your nickname, number, or initials. Game Time Sidekicks. Show your colors and carry your team. We have all made the mistake of dropping or breaking our smartphones. See? But did you know that you can have it repaired for a fraction of the cost that it takes to replace it? Well, you can, because iDrop is the area's leading mobile repair store, home of the 1 hour or less phone repair, 1 year parts warranty, and #1 customer service. Broken screens, cracked cameras, charging ports, batteries, you break it, we'll fix it. If you didn't break your phone, protect it with one of our leading accessories such as LifeProof, OtterBox, UAG, Incipico, Caseology, and Spec. Visit our West Hills location at 7115 Kingston Pike between Office Depot and Hardee's, or call 865-888-9740 and speak with our trained technicians to see how we can get your phone working today.
Dan Mullen posing awkwardly with recruits.
For what?
Gators working out wearing costumes.
For what?
Vanderbilt making a sorority-style video.
For what?
Aaron Murray and David Pollock opening their mouths.
For what?
All right, we have For What here on the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End BBQ. Today's lunch special is the Smokehouse Stew. Burnt ends, pulled pork, chopped chicken, smoked sausage, and stew vegetables. It is their version of Brunswick stews. It is amazing on a day where we had just a tremendous amount of rain. It's still gloomy. It's still cloudy outside. Great day for the Smokehouse Stew. All right, Ben, you have a For What for us today. Where are you going?
I'm going to the world of baseball. Specifically, I'm going to Toronto to give the Toronto Blue Jays a For What. There is a prospect by the name of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Yes, he is the son of the great Vladimir Guerrero, and he is one hefty human being who hits baseballs a long ways. I mean, just absolutely punishes baseballs. And, baseball and their free agency system is unlike any of the other sports in the sense of you can't become a free agent until you've served 6 years of service time. And Vladimir Guerrero should be playing in the major leagues, but in order for the Blue Jays to occur a full year of service time in 2019, in order to avoid that so that they can hold on to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the Blue Jays are purposefully pushing back his arbitration and free agency clock a year by holding him in the minor leagues. And I think this is just as stupid gets. And I bring this up to make a larger point that this is why baseball is losing out on the likes of Kyler Murray. Why would anybody want to go play for Major League Baseball when teams are doing this, purposefully keeping them in the minor leagues in order to push back their arbitration and free agency clock, essentially pushing back their timeline of when they can get one of these larger contracts. And so why would Kyler Murray want to give up potentially being a first-round pick and a lot of guaranteed money when baseball is doing things like this? So I'm giving the Toronto Blue Jays a for what, and Major League Baseball a for what for allowing this. And as a result, you're losing out on iconic players such as Kyler Murray, because you're not a huge baseball fan, but you're more likely to tune in if Kyler Murray's playing just to see how Kyler Murray is doing. So I do think MLB is striking out in that sense.
No, for real. I agree with you. I'm going to Miami, Dade County, a.k.a. Wade County. 2 men impersonating police officers tried to pull over a South Florida commissioner who is a former officer, and now they are in police custody. Miami-Dade Commissioner Joe Martinez grew suspicious Wednesday when he saw the sports utility vehicle with flashing lights that came up behind him on the Florida Turnpike. Martinez says the vehicle was too spiffy to be a police vehicle, and he noticed a temporary tag. Martinez refused to pull over and was able to flag down an officer in a squad car who was on the roadside. The officer radioed for help. The Miami Herald reports that the men were taken into custody. Agents from the ATF, who deal with police impersonators, were on their way to interview the suspects. You got to be really bored and really in need of a thrill to pretend like you're a police officer. That's dangerous. It's just dangerous.
And stupid.
And stupid. And stupid. Really stupid. 865-200-5503. Hour 3 is coming up after this.
Hour 3 of the Swain Event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
VFL's Jason Swain and Todd Kelly here with our Men on Football and Smoothie segment. Let's discuss some of our favorite smoothies and how they impact our lives. TK, man, tell me which smoothie comes to mind when you think about playing defense.
Swain-O, the Peanut Butter Power Plus and the Power Punch Plus provide the energy needed to make plays every time they take the field. Then you have the Gladiator and the Hawk, nutrition every dominant player has to have. Bottom line, everyone wants to be a dominant player. Now, Swain, you tell me about the offensive side of the ball.
TK, it's simple. You always score with Smoothie King. The shredder personifies what we are going to do to opposing defenses. The berry punch and activator will light up the scoreboard. And in case we need to go into overtime, the pure recharge will put us over the top for the win.
Swain-O, you know I love football and Smoothie King. I'm a VFL, a Smoothie King for life. The chocolate gladiator and the chocolate shredder with the scoop of peanut butter, oh, that's my go-to smoothie. They get a chest bump all day.
Yes, sir. This concludes our Men on Football and Smoothie King segment for today. Don't forget the Sip by Sip program. Use Smoothie King as a meal replacement 5 or more times a week, and you will feel and see the difference. Smoothie King, the healthy alternative to fast food. Delicious and nutritious. TK.
Don't forget the peanut butter. Yeah, boy.
Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong.
Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union has helped people save money for almost 80 years. Whether it's free checking, financing a vehicle, or purchasing that new home, Alcoa 10 is here to help you. Better rates, better service. Check them out at atfcu.com.
Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, a place where you belong.
Member NCUA.
You're listening to the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End BBQ. Check them out online at deadendbbq.com.
Question for you. If you're on the text box, if you're listening, you want to give us a call, 865-200-5503. Hour 3 is powered by Low T Center, lowtcenter.com. Question for you. Should Kentucky be rated or ranked higher than Tennessee right now? The new poll will come out today. Tennessee will not be number one, I can promise you that. But where will Kentucky be? And where will Tennessee be in relation to Kentucky? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a big deal, but this is radio. We're not playing the game. We don't have to worry about overlooking teams. We don't have to worry about our focus being in the wrong place. We don't play. Our focus can be wherever we want it to be. We're fans. With that being said, should Kentucky be rated higher than Tennessee? They have what, 3 or 4? They have 4 losses on the year.
3.
Or 3?
Seton Hall, Duke, Alabama. Oh, 4. LSU.
Yeah.
So LSU was the 4th.
Yeah. So they have 4. They have 4 losses. Tennessee with 2 losses. One of those losses by 17 points to Kentucky. The other one earlier in the season, overtime to Kansas. If you were a voter, are you putting Kentucky in front of Tennessee today?
I am. I think Tennessee's overall resume is better. Kentucky has wins, obviously, over number 1 Tennessee. Wins on they played at North Carolina. I know they beat North Carolina. I believe that game was in Chapel Hill. That's a great win. The Louisville, aside from the Duke debacle, has turned into a great win. So they do have some nice wins on their schedule. You know, they had a close win at Auburn, and sure, Auburn is dysfunctional at the moment, but that environment in Auburn Arena was a tough environment to play in. And then I believe Kentucky won at Mississippi State as well. So they do have some nice wins. But on the flip side of that, Tennessee also has some nice wins as well. And people have saying, oh, Tennessee hasn't been tested since the beginning of the season. While that is true, that doesn't mean that Tennessee has not been tested at all this season. You know, they went up to Brooklyn, beat Louisville, which has turned into a good win. At the time, it didn't look like it, but Louisville's been ranked inside the top 15 at points this season. You know, they went head-to-head with Kansas when Kansas was at its best. Memphis is not a good basketball team this year, but that was an absolute test for Tennessee, going to FedEx Forum, sold-out arena, hostile environment, and Tennessee passed that test. And then I do give credence to the fact that although the SEC schedule has been weak to begin things for Tennessee, I mean, it's pretty impressive that Tennessee, until the Kentucky game, was winning its SEC games by 17 points on average. That's pretty daggum impressive. So I say that all that to say, although I would take Tennessee in a 7-game series between Tennessee and Kentucky, with the way Kentucky beat Tennessee, I'm putting Kentucky ahead of Tennessee.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, you have a bunch of teams that kind of lumped in together as far as their records. A lot of 2-loss teams, 3-loss teams, and when you look at how Kentucky has played, I know Kentucky lost last week to LSU. So how do you move them up after losing a game? They went 1-1 last week. How do they jump a different team or another team that has not lost a game?
I guess because there are such things as good losses, and that's not playing moral victories or anything, but it is possible to where you just play really good basketball and you still lose. That is possible. Just like if Tennessee runs into Duke in the tournament, Tennessee could play a good basketball game, but if Duke plays its A-plus game, Duke is probably winning that game. So it is possible to have a quote-unquote bad loss, a good loss, and I think some people could flip that LSU game and view it as such, as to, well, that game really should have gone to overtime if the referees realized that was offensive goaltending. So I think some people will play that card and then realize that they just beat down the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, I would go Duke #1. I would go Gonzaga 2. I would go Virginia 3, Kentucky 4, and then Michigan 5.
I would go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe Tennessee 5 and Michigan 6 stay where they are, because didn't Michigan lose last week too?
Yeah.
So I would put Tennessee at 5. I would put Kentucky at 4, Virginia at 3, Gonzaga 2, and Duke #1.
Yeah, I agree with you. But to me, Tennessee #5. I wouldn't. I think Tennessee is a much better team. Maybe not much better, but a better team than Michigan. And Tennessee definitely gets that #5 spot from me.
Yeah, I would put Tennessee in front of Michigan there. 865-255-03. Tennessee football got themselves a commitment over the weekend from 4-star 2020 defensive tackle Dominic Bailey from the state of Maryland.
Baltimore.
6'2", 290. And we'll see if Tennessee is able to hold on to him with Mike Loxley down there. And he's making it a effort to kind of control the borders. We'll see what happens. But Dominic Bailey was blown away on previous visits and could not hold back any longer. And boom, he commits. And I'll tell you, after the whole, and this may offend some people, I'm sorry, it's going to offend you. I apologize if it offends you. I don't care, but I'll be sorry if it offends you. I'm sorry.
With all due respect.
With all due respect, I don't care. What Rivals did or didn't do last week has made me look at recruiting services a little bit differently. And I hate that, because there are dudes that do it the right way. There are dudes that watch film that will not put a ranking on a kid unless someone sees him in person. But what Rivals did, and it was maybe 1 or 2 people, whoever creates rankings regionally, and I think I have an idea of who did that here with Rivals. He should not be allowed to rank any more players. This is the same crap that happened with Eric Gray over the summer. At one point, Eric Gray, the U.S. Army All-American running back, during the summer, when he was a junior, was not even ranked nationally, and was ranked in the 20s in the state of Tennessee.
Ridiculous.
How do you miss on a player from the state of Tennessee that bad during the summer? It ain't like the dudes from Florida or Texas or Georgia. He's from Tennessee, where you should know who your best players are. And Eric Gray has won Mr. Football multiple times.
Forget the Mr. Football. I want to know how, not that the recruiting guys don't know football, but how can a guy that is wanted by Jim Harbaugh, Jeremy Pruitt, guys that know football, not be ranked inside the top 20 within the state of Tennessee? That does not make sense to me. Like, I'm sorry, but you may know your football, but I value Jim Harbaugh's opinion and Jeremy Pruitt's opinion in terms of evaluating players more than, quite frankly, any recruiting guy. I mean, they're head football coaches of major college football programs for a reason. And to not have him in the top 20 in the state of Tennessee, that isn't a great state for high school talent. It's gotten much better, but it's still not where some of these other states are. And especially in this year was down in the state of Tennessee. That just does not make sense to me.
I'll say this last thing before we get to Vol Storm. I do appreciate Shannon Terry, who is the owner of 24/7 Sports, who originally started Rivals and then sold it and then took a year or two off because of a non-compete. And then after that non-compete was over, he created 247 Sports and then basically took all the Rivals' best writers, and they have joined 247. And this is what he said during that whole debacle. What debacle am I talking about? There's a football manager. He wasn't even a football player. A football manager at Grace Christian of Knoxville, of all places, who created a Twitter account, used a fake recruit picture from a 2018 player from the West Coast, and tweeted out that he had offers from Alabama and 2 others. And instead of calling his high school to verify, Rivals created a recruiting profile for this young man and just gave him a 3-star based on his Alabama offer, which is embarrassing. You know what's even more embarrassing? That an ACC school called Grace and was going to offer this kid. An ACC school was about to call and offer this kid based on their recruiting profile.
Probably Willie Taggart.
Embarrassing. It wasn't Florida State. I appreciate Shannon Terry, who is the owner of 247 Sports. He says, recruiting PSA, 1 of 2. Today, a national recruiting service rated a prospect that doesn't exist. Unfortunately, that service, public data, contributes to the 247 composite. While appalling, I'm not surprised. Ironically, it was the same little brother service that took shots at 247 on National Signing Day. In order to ensure that this never occurs again, and it negatively impacts the composite, 247 now has a new protocol where prospects are no longer given a composite rating without also having a 247 rating, which means the composite, which I can poke holes in the 247 composite on some things. I think when you go 247's recruiting profile on the kid, the composite is like in bold, and it's the first thing that catches your eye. And I think the 247 should have their own rankings that should be big and bold and should catch your eye first. It's your website, it's your service. You should have your rankings out first, and the composite should be secondary. That's just my take. If they ever ask me for my input, I would give them some input. But they haven't. They don't really need to. They do a great job anyways. But Rivals messed it up for the whole industry. They did. Sad. They messed it up for the whole industry because now you don't know who to trust. And ESPN, they do a pretty good job, and 247 does a good job, but Rivals messed it up for everybody because of 1 or 2 bad apples. And there's a lot of folks that cover recruiting, that has covered recruiting over a long period of time. They do a great job, and they do it right. But the Eric Gray crap over the summer And this, golly, what a black eye on recruiting services.
It's not even just the recruiting service for Rival. I mean, this is going to affect Austin Price because it paints Rivals as a whole in a bad light. And that's unfortunate because very few people work harder than Austin Price.
Well, it shouldn't. And that's –
It shouldn't, but it will.
I said this last week. It has nothing to do with Brent Hubbs, Austin Price, Jesse Salmonton, Rob Lewis. Nothing to do with VolQuest. Nothing. They don't do rankings. They do none of that. Only thing they do is cover recruiting, call the recruits, get information, get team news, things like that. But they don't control rankings, so it's not on them. So there's no reason to look at the VolQuest team and second guess them because they've been in this space, in this market covering Tennessee for decades, and they've done a great job at that. So for those who may be a little ignorant, may look at VolQuest and think it affects them, but it really shouldn't. You need to look at Rivals from a national standpoint and a regional standpoint and how they're ranking kids and how guys are getting these freaking recruiting pages. If you go and look at the state of Tennessee, they're top-rated players, and they changed a little bit, but during the summer, most of those guys who were in the top 5 didn't even have big-time SEC offers from the SEC giants right now. The Tennessees, the Georgias, the Florida. I'm not saying Tennessee's a giant right now, but the big programs. Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, those players who were ranked in the top 3 or 4 or 5 in the state of Tennessee, they had to go outside the conference. That should tell you something about the rankings. Really disappointed. Let's get to Volstorm. Volstorm, good morning.
Guys, where to begin? You know, that whole catfishing scandal that happened with Rivals, that's probably the best thing that could ever happen to recruiting.
It's one way to look at it.
The reason I say that is because, you know, some of these recruiting services we've speculated for years and years just evaluate kids based on whether or not they go to camps, whether or not, you know, favorability, not ability, not on-field ability, not seeing them in person, as kind of we've seen with some of the highly recruited players that Butch brought in. So I think it's a great thing.
Oh yeah, I think it is in terms of if you 247 separating yourself away from the pack, ESPN separating yourself from the pack, and then hopefully it gives fans some realistic expectations when you look at the recruiting rankings and where your team is, and not to put all of your stock in a recruiting ranking.
Yep. Guys, let's go ahead and get into the bad part of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which was worse, watching Tennessee getting pushed all over the court or watching our own fan base try to blame the loss on the refs.
Fan base blaming the loss on the refs.
I mean, that is, you know, I've seen football, I've seen basketball, all kinds of sports. When you get blown out, the refs have nothing to do with it because, let's face it, SEC officiating has been bad the whole year. Every time you turn on a game, the refs have been bad. So that you know that going in. But to get just completely dominated, then you erase the referee factor. You completely erase it. The thing is, they got bullied on the court. They looked intimidating. They didn't take the shots that they needed to, and they just got dominated. It's just fact.
Yep. And I'm always the first one that will defend our fans and defend our fan base when it's appropriate. But you got dudes, and I know folks don't like Wes Rucker. I know why people don't like Wes. I've told Wes about himself several times. Me and Wes are tight. And so I can do that. And Wes understands why he gets himself in hot water. But Wes is a grown man. Wes said the truth of what happened. We got punked. And I said the truth of what happened. We didn't play well. You can't blame the referees. It's amazing how when we hear something we don't like, it can be the truth. Bro, we get in denial. We get to making it personal, making personal shots. What are we, 7? We got beat. We got beat. Period. And I was just amazed, Vol Storm. Like, do people do this in their normal lives? Do you make excuses like this in your normal life? And I'm not talking about Twitter, alternate universe, a la land, because Twitter is not a real representation of like reality. It's really not. It's great most of the time. It's great for getting news. It's great for interacting with people. But Twitter's not real life. Do you make excuses like this in your real life? If you're not making the money that you want to make, you blaming somebody else? Something happens.
These are the same people that whenever they screw up something, they always find something else or somebody else to blame instead of looking at the situation and going, my bad.
Man.
I messed up.
I mean, I was amazed. I'm getting stuff back from people saying, well, the refs were bad. They've been bad all year. They've been bad all year and in multiple sports.
Every year.
Yeah.
The refs will be bad tomorrow night against Vanderbilt. Yeah. The refs will be bad against LSU and Baton Rouge on Saturday.
What are you talking about? 1 for 17 from 3? Listen, Admiral Schofield averages 15 points per game in SEC play. Lamonte Turner averages 11 points per game in SEC play. Jordan Bowen averages 15 points per game in SEC play, which is a total of 41 points. Against Kentucky, they combined for 24 points. How many points did Tennessee lose by?
17.
17. Boom. There's your difference.
Yep.
Big-time players got to show up in big-time games. Ours didn't. That's why you lost. Boom. And you got punked. Why are you blaming the refs for? Golly, have some accountability. Grow up a little bit. I'm with you, Vol Storm. I'm with you, man.
It just amazes me.
So I would say
it really shouldn't, but it does.
It's truly amazing, man. It's truly amazing.
All right, boys. We'll see you.
See you. Let's get to Mark. Mark, good morning.
Swaino, my brother, what's happening?
What's happening, Mark? You watched the game. You watched the game, didn't you?
What's that? Oh yeah, I watched the game, bro.
Yeah, I should know.
You can blame that one on me if you want.
And you were yelling and you lost your voice too, right?
I know it. I barely got it left, man. I can't believe it. It's been 2 days.
Yeah.
Man, we got thumped.
Got thumped.
I mean, thumped. And it's I haven't read Welker or none. I haven't read the Twitter or none of that crap. I'm just people blame everybody else for something that happened to them. It's been happening for 15 years, bro. It's not my fault. It's somebody else. Something else happened. Somebody else did something. That ain't it, man. We did not show up. We rolled our orange tea out there and expected Kentucky to lay down, and they brought the pain, and it showed. They brought something that we did not expect, and we laid down and took it. It looked like the football team when we played Alabama. I'm not going to repeat what I said then because y'all got on to me, but it was terrible. And I'm personally glad it happened. Mm-hmm. I hate it was Kentucky that did it. Mm-hmm. I wished it would have been Vandy or LSU. Mm-hmm. But I hope that opens up a hunger that they had early, that they seem to have lost this last 10, 15 game stretch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They seem to have lost that fire that they had early. So maybe it happened at a good time. What do you think?
I thought it was a good time for some adversity right before the end of SEC play and right before the SEC tournament and March Madness. I thought this team needed to hit some adversity. I did not like that it was against Kentucky. I would have prefer to be Mississippi State or Ole Miss or someone like that. But, you know, it is what it is. And you will see Kentucky again at least 2 more times.
In our house.
Yeah. Well, once here in our house and another in the SEC tournament, because there's no one else, I think, that will stop these 2 teams from colliding in the finals. So you have an opportunity to avenge your loss. Here's the thing that's funny, Mark. Sorry to go on a side tangent here.
No, you come on, bro.
You know, you mentioned about we always blame other people when something happens to us instead of taking accountability. Whenever we see where millennials are doing something and we want to make fun of them and whatever, I think we fail to realize that the millennials didn't raise themselves.
Nope.
Last time I checked, they had parents. And so we can blame this softer generation and, oh, man, they soft today. And But guess who made them soft?
It's their parents.
Their parents made them soft by making excuses for them and allowing them to be soft. And that's what I saw on Saturday night, a bunch of excuse making. Your juniors and seniors on this basketball team that are 20, 21, 22 years old have more accountability than 40 and 50-year-old men and women on Twitter.
It's sad, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's so sad. I don't think that's me, bro.
That's on us.
All right, but and as far as the recruiting thing goes, I mean that's all we can say about Tennessee basketball is they got thumped, and I hope they respond well. I hope they respond well. But as far as the recruiting stuff goes, man, money ruins everything. And that's all you can say. Money ruins everything, and I hope it don't ruin what they built for us. You know what I mean? Because that's the start of it. That's the start. That's the beginning of the end, right there.
Mm-hmm. And let me expand on what you're saying. So when you say ruin it for us, that is giving fans the interviews of recruits and keeping you updated and letting you know what's going on with players that you have a chance to get. I mean, the recruiting services, it was an awesome invention years and years and years ago, man. It gave SEC fans and football fans a look inside that, you know, recruiting boardroom or that war room, so to speak. But because of what you just mentioned, money and competition, you have the pay sites like 247 and Rivals, ESPN. They're competing with each other back and forth. So instead of spending that extra 5 minutes that it would have taken to call that high school, you rush because you're just trying to beat the other guys because it's about that money. And you just ruin your credibility, Rivals.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
It's all clickbait right now.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get it up first. We got to get it up first. We don't get it's crap, man. That's why I'll just wait till spring and see what we got.
I get it, Mark. Thanks, man.
That's all I got, brother. Go Vols.
Thank you. Let's get to Turkey Man. Turkey Man's next. Turkey Man, good morning.
Good morning, individuals.
How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good this morning. I talk a little football there, and you can take maybe what I'm going to say to basketball if you'd like. But I got a comment first. First of all, on the recruiting, if we had made a page for Leroy Bussat, I wonder how far it would have went.
He probably unranked. If the regional director of Rivals would have saw him.
If Titansville had the skills to have done that, I'd like to see where it went. But on the other thing, and you can take this and use it in basketball if you'd like, but I was hearing all year the Alabama football team and what the records they was breaking. That team in itself was the best of all times. I heard it all year. And you have not heard one word after the 28 drubbing they got in the championship game. How does that team that was rated best of all times rank now outside of Alabama football or maybe inside of Alabama football? That's my comment and that's my question. Go Vols. Love your show, guys. Talk to you later.
See you, Turkey Man. What Turkey Man asked? it was hard to follow Turkey Man today on that one. I need some help, man. Can you help me, Ben?
I got you during the break.
You got me during the break? Big orange gun on the text box. The Vols play horribly Saturday night. That said, basketball was never intended to be a physical brawl that we saw Saturday. Go read the NCAA rules if you don't understand. I'm not blaming the refs, but I'd rather prefer a clean, less physical game with skill. That was certainly the most physical contact I've seen allowed in a game this season. Yeah, they let him play. The refs were inconsistent. Okay. The refs were not good. Did the refs put a blindfold over Lamonte Turner and Jordan Bowden's eyes when they're shooting threes?
With the refs in Tennessee jerseys rebounding the basketball.
Again, like, okay, the refs were not good. Okay, they didn't call it fair at times. We didn't play through it. It was a 17-point blowout. We didn't play through it. If we would have played through it and Tennessee would have lost that game by 1 or 2 points or 3 points, then okay, we can have a different conversation today. But Tennessee did not do about 4 or 5 things right. Plus having the referees call an inconsistent game. That's my point. We can bring up referees and how they did not have their best showing. That's fine. But the point where you miss me is that when you blaming the loss entirely on the referees. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. You can do it. I'm not. And neither is this basketball team. They're going to go to work. They're going to put up jump shots and make sure they make those shots. Lamonte Turner, Jordan Bowden. I know who's in the gym the most of the time. It's Lamonte Turner. It's Jordan Bowden. It's Admiral Schofield. And it's Eves Pons. I ain't worried about those guys making jump shots.
How absurd is it that Lamonte was 0-7 from 3 and Eve Pons made a 3 in that game? Dude, I was like, what earth are we living on?
Grant and Eves Pons were your best 3-point shooters
in the first half
on Saturday.
What planet?
It's crazy, man. Hour 3 continues after this.
Hour 3 of the Swain Event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Have you noticed lack of energy, motivation, and drive? Call the Low T Center and schedule a complete health assessment today. Whether you have sleep apnea and need a CPAP or have low testosterone or low thyroid levels, Low T Center will get you feeling great again. If you're a man over 30 and haven't had an annual checkup, don't wait until you feel bad. Do yourself a favor and get a quick and easy health assessment today. Services are covered by most health insurance. Call 865-392-1388 or go to lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Are you looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Then call me, Jennifer Morris, at 865-694-5904. Listen to what the Tarver family had to say.
Jennifer was our realtor recently and helped us find our dream home. She also helped us sell our home, and we had a signed contract in only 2 days. Her greatest strengths are her patience and personality. We never felt pressured, and I would highly recommend her in buying and selling a home.
Call me, Jennifer Morris, at 865-694-5904 or email me at jennifermorris865@gmail.com.
When you see the happy face on our truck, you'll be smiling because you'll know that you're in love.
It's freezing in here, Mary. What's wrong with your heater? The repairman can't get here till next week. Sugar, you've got the wrong guy. My guy is fast and has free heating service calls when he does the repair.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Hiller. Take advantage of a free service call with any repair.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
JC's Tree and Landscaping Service specializes in quality tree work done at an affordable price. Trimming and removing trees are their specialty. They also offer other services like land clearing, stump grinding, crane services, and all of your basic landscaping needs for both commercial and residential. JC's will give you a free estimate and beat any written quote by a competitor to guarantee that you get the lowest price around. Don't risk your land with a fly-by-night service. JC's Tree and Landscaping is licensed and insured. Give them a call at 865-599-3799.
For a replay of each day's Swain Event TV, like us on Facebook.
Man, what is this, Ben?
We're mourning.
We're going old school. I mean, I thought Valentine's Day was last week. What's this? Slow jam?
We are mourning. We are in our feelings this morning as Tennessee fans.
Oh man, I don't know whether to be sad or get in the mood. I don't know what I should do.
I would prefer for right now you would be sad rather than the alternative.
It's probably a good thing, man. 865-255-03. B Drive Waterproofing Hotline. I'm sorry, I was laughing, man. Who we got again?
We got TC.
TC, my man. Good morning.
Hey, Swaino, what's happening, brother?
What's up, man? What's up? It's good to hear from you.
Yes, sir, man. I tell you what, it was tough to eat that humble pie this weekend, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, man. A couple slices. I think we had the whole pie.
Brother, we sure did, man.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that was most disappointing to me, obviously, the rest, it was pretty disappointing the way that went. But what was more disappointing was that Kentucky was much, much, much more physical than the ball, that it wasn't even close. Out of these guys that are juniors and seniors that have been in this weight conditioning program or whatever.
Hey, TC, your phone cutting out a little bit on you.
Say again?
I said your phone's cutting out on you a little bit there.
I'm sorry. But what I was trying to say is it was just real disappointing how physical Kentucky was as opposed to Tennessee. And, these guys, you've heard that saying that everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And we got punched in the mouth early and often, and whatever plan we had went flying out the window.
Yes.
And it was the first time where it seemed like we just didn't play very good team basketball this season. But I do think it's something that these guys will learn from, they'll grow from, and when Kentucky comes to Knoxville, I think it's going to be a lot different story. I did think, or I wondered, I should say, there's been some games this year where Tennessee has been in control of the game, been up by a pretty big margin, and could have gotten some of our starters out of the game and given other guys on the bench opportunity to play there at the end. And I wondered if that kind of caught up with us a little bit on Saturday because we looked tired to me. The body language just, to me, was a team that was tired.
Yeah, I don't think they're tired because I don't think basketball guys, I don't think they get tired like that because they run all day, every day. I do think they got rocked. They got shook.
They're mentally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think effort was a problem from start to finish. You can certainly look at some plays and wonder why we're not sprinting up the court in transition. I just thought these guys experienced something they haven't experienced all season long, and they were on their heels, and they were like, "Oh, wow! This ain't South Carolina. This is not Texas A&M. Oh, this is not West Virginia where you caught yourself down 12 points and then you came back and you beat them by 15, 20 points. No, this Kentucky team is as good as you, and if you don't play well, and they play their best, they're gonna beat your eyes shut." And that's what happened on Saturday.
Yeah, because bottom line is, I mean, as bad as the refs were,
Mm-hmm.
we had a lot of open looks that we just didn't knock the shots down.
Yep.
Jay Billis said it 1,000 times in the first 5-10 minutes of the game. Kentucky is knocking down their open shots. Tennessee is not knocking down their open shots.
Yep, and that's bottom line, man. I mean, it was crazy game, man. We haven't shot. What was the percentage? What was our shooting percentage Saturday?
41%. 41%.
And what's that? What's the season average, or at least SEC play average?
SEC average is 52%.
So I mean, there you go, boys. That's a lot of points right there. 10%, 11%.
Hey, Rick Barnes said it was the most selfish he has seen the team play all year. This team,
I agree completely.
Yeah, this team averages 20 assists per game, and they had a season low of 11 on Saturday.
Well, and you know, 40% isn't bad, a bad mark, but when you compare it to, you said what, they're shooting 50% on the season?
Well, they're shooting 52% on the season.
And that's, you know why? Because they get the ball inside. Against Kentucky, they did not get the ball inside. And what was frustrating is that they were missing so many long jumpers at the beginning of the game. And then towards halftime, Admiral started taking the ball to the rack. And what do you know? They were successful doing that. So they just weren't playing their game. It's really weird.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll learn from it. I think they'll bounce back, and it really doesn't change our goals at all, man. We still got everything to play for.
That's right. Thanks, TC.
Later, guys.
You shoot, 41%, and then Kentucky shoots 54%. What do you think going to happen?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
To TC's point about being tired, I agree with you. I don't necessarily think that Tennessee was tired entering the game. I think they were emotionally tired once they kind of realized what was happening. But just to bring up a separate point, Rick Barnes does have an interesting theory on why he doesn't rest players at the end of the games. His theory is that he thinks it is disrespectful to the other coach to pull, in this case, Jordan Bone, Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, pull his stars out of the game up 10, 15, 17 points with a couple of minutes left. He thinks it is disrespectful to the other coach.
I can see that.
And you don't really hear – I've never heard that before.
No, I can see that. And it's not like – I mean, if you're only up 16 points or 3 minutes, I'm sorry, that's not enough of a lead to start pulling guys out. I mean, 30 points, 28 points, 26 points – okay, but no, I'm not pulling guys out with 15 down. I mean, up 15 with 3 minutes to go. I mean, you can go on an 8-0 run and have a game.
Tennessee, in the middle of that second half, it looked like Tennessee was going to climb back into it there for a minute because they went on an 11-0 run over the span of a minute and 37 or so seconds. So to your point, that 16 point lead can disappear quickly. And then what's unfortunate, if that does happen, is that you've pulled your starters, and mentally at that point they've checked out once you pulled them for the game. This game's in the bag, and then if you have to put them back into the game, and now it's all of a sudden it's a close game, that is a recipe for disaster.
I remember one year Duke came back from a 10-point deficit to win with only a minute to go in the game. I think it was when Jay Williams was playing.
It's like 01, 02. 04,
yeah,
somewhere.
It was 01. It was against Maryland.
I saw him tweeting about that the other day.
Oh man, 10 points in 54 seconds in 2001. So I'm sorry, I ain't taking guys out up 15 with 3 minutes to go. Nope, not doing it.
If it's 15 with a minute and a half, I'm cool with it. But I just thought it was interesting to hear Rick Barnes' philosophy on that he thinks it's disrespectful to the other coach. I never heard it put like that.
Yeah. Who we got there?
B-Rad.
B-Rad, good morning.
What's up, guys?
What's up, B-Rad?
Hey, man, I'll be real quick and I'll get out. I did notice one thing about the game Saturday. I don't know if it was because we were tired or we were tripping over our chins. We ain't used to getting pushed around like that all year, but Jordan Bone looked like he was frustrated. He was on a fast break going back the other way, and he was the only orange jersey that crossed half court. He turned around and motioned to the rest of the team, "Let's go." And we're all just jogging down the line, and that stood out for me. I kind of seen it, but Jordan Bone was frustrated with the effort, it looked like to me.
Yes, he was. And the only bright spot from that game is I think Jordan Bone's going to take it up another level.
He's going to have to, especially on Saturday with Tremont Waters around the corner and LSU. He's going to have to.
That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, B-Rad. Yeah, I think he's going to turn it up another level because this is hard to say. I love this basketball team. I do. But I think he saw fear in some of his teammates' eyes. And when you see fear in your teammates' eyes, you like, oh, well, I got to be more. It's on me now. I got to be more assertive. I have to be more aggressive. I got to do this now. And I think he will. I think he's going to put it up on his shoulders that when they go down to LSU and LSU tries to mimic what Kentucky was able to do against Tennessee, Jordan Bone is not going to not take the ball to the basket and push the pace like he didn't do against Kentucky. And if I'm Jordan Bone, Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, I'm having a conversation with guys who I thought looked a little shook.
Because it wasn't Grant or Admiral that was shook. They just had bad, more so than Admiral. Admiral was talking even when when Tennessee was down 15. Admiral was talking.
Oh, yeah.
He was slapping himself on the butt after he hit a big three.
Yep.
And Grant Williams was. I thought Grant Williams was a warrior with the way that he was just relentlessly getting beat up, and he was still trying to take it to Kentucky. I'd never seen Lamonte Turner look like that. Jordan Bowden went back to his sophomore self of not being aggressive. Kyle Alexander I don't think Kyle Alexander looked scared. He just looked like he didn't know what to do just because of the nature of the game and how physical it was. Kyle Alexander was just like at a loss for words. I don't think it was necessarily fear in his eyes, but and Folky had a nice block, but I was more shocked with Lamonte Turner and Jordan Bowden. I did not expect that from them.
Yeah, you can play in some big games. You know, I've played games against Alabama and Florida, and then you in the huddle and you look at guys in the eyes and their eyes don't look the same. You're like, oh
boy, here we go.
Oh man, I don't know. And so this game was good. This game was good for Tennessee. I hated that it was Kentucky, but I mean Kentucky earned it, and that's why 2.5 weeks ago I thought Kentucky was a top 5 team. I thought they were a top 5 team, and they proved on Saturday. Swain Event, be right back.
Hour 3 of the Swain Event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com. Do you know your numbers? Feel like you again. Let us help.
Top 100 barbecue restaurant Dead End BBQ has a new slew of daily specials for the fall. Enjoy a different special meal every day, like the smokehouse stew, barbecue cheddar meatloaf, or the smoked turkey and dressing, which includes sliced smoked turkey and cornbread dressing paired with sauteed Brussels sprouts, mashed potatoes, and a side of turkey gravy. While Dead End offers a different specialty meal each day, you can get their hillbilly chili every day. There is always something new at Dead End BBQ. Located off of Sutherland Avenue, Dead End BBQ. The fall flavor search is over.
You're driving home, flashing blue lights in your rearview mirror. You pull over, step out of your car, and the next thing you know, you're being arrested for driving under the influence. Now what do? We all should be responsible, but remember, just because you're arrested doesn't mean you're guilty. Call criminal defense and DUI attorney Marcos Garza at 865-540-8300. The investigative teams at the Garza Law Firm know the justice system inside and out. They utilize cutting-edge technologies and investigative methods to prepare your specific case. Before you plead guilty to any criminal charges, call criminal defense and DUI attorney Marcos Garza. Put his number in your phone right now, 865-540-8300, because you never know when you or a friend will need it. Don't say guilty. Say Garza. 865-540-8300. 865-540-8300 and GarzaLaw.com.
We have all made the mistake of dropping or breaking our smartphones. See? But did you know that you can have it repaired for a fraction of the cost that it takes to replace it? Well, you can, because iDrop is the area's leading mobile repair store, home of the 1 hour or less phone repair, 1 year parts warranty, and #1 customer service. Broken screens, cracked cameras, charging ports, batteries, you break it, we'll fix it. If you didn't break your phone, protect it with one of our leading accessories such as LifeProof, OtterBox, UAG, Incipico, Caseology, and Spec. Visit our West Hills location at 7115 Kingston Pike between Office Depot and Hardee's, or call 865-888-9740 and speak with our trained technicians to see how we can get your phone working today.
Choose your car insurance.
Nobody likes surprises, so switch to Erie Rate Lock. Get a great rate that stays that way even after an accident, ticket, or inflation. In fact, it's locked until you change a car, driver, or your address.
Your Erie agent in Knoxville is InsureFit RM. Get a quote at 865-684-4900. That's 865-684-4900.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
At work? Can't call in? Don't feel bad. You can talk to the guys on the text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Golly, man. I mean, it really is gloomy in
No,
here.
I deserve her for what you and I were talking about. Jay Williams' comeback during the break, and I forgot to switch the instrumental to come back to. I apologize. That's my fault. I get it for what.
Man, I tried to get past the game. We were sitting there talking about Maryland's basketball team at 01. They gave up a 10-point lead with less than a minute to go. They lost the game to Duke, and Duke won the championship at 01. And then in 2002, the next season, Maryland won the national championship. So we were trying to figure that out.
Here we go. Here's a different vibe. Just a little different vibe to switch it up.
Well,
you were talking great about this man during a break earlier.
What about him? I'm talking about this beat. I need.
This is a J. Cole beat.
That's fine. J. Cole did his thing at the All-Star game. He was awesome. But I'm thinking about like some turn down for what type of music. Even though
you meant to say third down for what?
No, I meant to say turn down for what, because third down for what doesn't make any sense.
Gosh, looking back on that, how stupid was that?
Man, I wouldn't say it was stupid.
Just in relation to Butch Jones, because as a fan, it was kind of cool to see the entire stadium just go absolutely crazy on third down. But it was stupid when Tennessee had 10 straight third downs and they couldn't get off the field on any of them.
The worst was when, like, we were down against Arkansas. We were down against Arkansas. I remember this. Because that was the game my daughter went to, and that's the only part she actually liked about the game was third down. And they were up, running the clock out, running the football, and they were still playing third down for what? Like, dude, this game was over, man.
That one and the Oklahoma game in 2015, to where Tennessee would have Baker Mayfield in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and he would just scramble around and either chunk it to Sterling Shepard or take off running and pick up the first down. I still have nightmares about that game in Baker Mayfield on third down.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Third down for what? It just doesn't make any sense. Because the original song is turn down for what, which is telling you to turn up. Mm-hmm. So turn down for what? For what is the question, right? Just like we have for what on the show, this segment that was created before Lil Jon's turn down for what. But for what is it's like the question. So third down for what just makes no sense. Third down for what?
Let's stay on the field.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. But it gave Tennessee a home field advantage, and it was really cool to see the crowd get into it. I mean, I thought it was a good move by Butch Jones. I'm not gonna sit here and diminish that part of his legacy here at Tennessee, because I thought it was a really cool way to get the crowd involved when Tennessee was on defense. Now, the attempt to try to get the offense involved.
What was it? The first down chant?
Yeah, that
I can't. I vaguely remember the chant.
That flopped. Chris from Dyer says Ben's music got me thinking about leaving work and going home since my old lady is off for President's Day.
Oh, that's definitely the move. You definitely have to make that move.
Chris gonna walk into his boss's office.
My tummy's hurting.
I think I need to go home. Do you text the wifey? On the way. Remember Bad Boys? Remember Bad Boys? When Martin got shot in the butt by Will Smith, he had to sit on the donut. And then everything was working. And he was like, oh, wifey, I'm on the way.
I'm on the way, except Chris is going to hit the you up text.
On the way. Big Orange Gun. I think most Vol fans like myself are not blaming the poor officiating or lack of enforcement of the rules for the loss. You'll be amazed, Big Orange Gun. You'll be amazed.
Nacho says, I never wanted third down for what? Because they only needed 2 downs to get it first.
Big Orange Gun says, I think most Vols like myself aren't blaming the poor officiating or lack of enforcement of the rules for the loss. Many would have liked to seen a cleaner game from the beginning where skill and finesse are emphasized rather than just banging bodies around. That's certainly not organized basketball. Yeah, Big Orange Gun, that's what we would like to see. But that's not what happened. So what do you do if you're Tennessee? You make adjustments. You worry about what you can control. You can't control officiating. Again, what we like to see and what we saw are 2 different things. Who cares what we like to see? I prefer to see that type of basketball too. I don't want to see guys knocking each other out the air and guys flopping around. I love to see skilled basketball players. But again, we're spending too much time talking about the officiating, and we can because it's a talk show host. But if you're going to spend time looking at why Tennessee lost, 25% of it could be officiating, but 75% of it is us. And when I say 75% of us, certainly giving Kentucky credit goes in there too, because they made us play uncharacteristic. The referees, they stink. So what? You can't control that. Control what you can control. That is making shots. That is sharing the basketball. That is getting 50-50 balls. That is being aggressive on the drive. Admiral Schofield did some of that in the second half. But you can control those things. Worry about what you can control. The referees, they stink. They always have. They always will. Not an excuse, though.
Now, it did stink in the sense of Tennessee it didn't help in the sense of Tennessee finding its rhythm. Early those first 10 minutes, it was you could commit any crime in the book. You could elbow somebody in the throat, and it wasn't going to be called. And then those 5 minutes right before the half, I think, was that when the screen on Grant and Grant's kind of throat hit the shoulder of whoever was setting the screen?
That was PJ Washington.
But it wasn't.
That was PJ Washington.
Grant was called for some tic-tac foul that should not have been called.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the screen and not Grant on his butt. That was PJ Washington.
Right, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. There's a foul right before the half. It just – the refs were terrible, and it worked both ways. It prevented Tennessee from finding a rhythm, but it also wasn't the reason that Tennessee lost by 17.
Right. Nothing you say about the officials is wrong. They stink. It was unfair, blah, blah, blah. That's right. All of it's right. I'm not sitting here taking up for the officials and saying that they were – just because I don't 100% agree with you, people who are blaming the refs, doesn't mean that I'm sitting here saying the refs were good. I'm not saying that they were good. They were bad. But Tennessee did not play well in their own right. That is our time for today. The Swain Event fueled by Dead End BBQ. Hour 3, and we're live from the Swain Event studio of Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. Be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Peace and love.
Hour 3 of the Swain Event is brought to you by the Low T Center and lowtcenter.com.